Let's get ready to suck it!
It's the Time Spent Poorly show with Edwardo. That's me at TSPN Media on Twitter. And along with me here by my side today is old Hudds himself at Hudds and Edwardo on the Twitter as well. A couple of things we should get out of the way before we get this party underway is some of our, like, we always say this stuff at the end, but maybe it's important, maybe you're prudent to mention it at the beginning a little bit to some degree.
Well, people are thinking about it.
Yeah. If you're a viewer or a listener, if you're a viewer, you can listen to the show in podcast form. We usually break this block up into a couple episodes, so it's kind of a little more digestible. And you can listen to, and you can go to timespentpoorly.com and subscribe from there on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, pretty much any podcast platform that you would look for. We also, depending on where you're watching from right now, we do this live on YouTube, twitch.tv, facebook.com. If you go to, and then we're also on instagram.com. So twitch.tv, facebook.com, and instagram.com are all /Time Spent Poorly Network. YouTube.com has a special we cut the network off. It's just Time Spent Poorly. And then Twitter is at TSPN Media, at Hudds Magruder. When Derek's here, it's at Derek on TSPN. And then also we're on Periscope at TSPN Media, which is a new addition to the.
God, there's so many platforms.
Yeah.
And you
So,
have to hit them all.
You got to
get as many people as possible.
right.
So you're hitting all these platforms, and half of them will be dead next year.
Right. Well, and then we'll have to find another one to hop on board, to onboard with. But so, yeah. And then also we have, we do have a Patreon. If that's something that interests you. I think our lowest, our just the standard fan tier starts at like $3. And then you can do little extra stuff. If you enter into the other tiers, they get kind of a little bit crazy. And I make them that way. Huh?
We have one. Yes.
We do have one patron.
I think we should pull the $3 patron in for like a 15-minute segment, just because he's our first.
If I can get a hold of him, yeah.
I would give it a shot.
Yeah. So if you're the one,
Hit us up.
Message me on the patron page or Patreon, or you can actually email me at beerwithedwardo@gmail.com, and I'll get that email there as well. So, speaking of Beer with Edwardo, I did that beer challenge, the basketball beer challenge, which is
that first one. It was obvious you weren't going to do it.
Yeah, no, my wife like clued me in on this, and so I was like, well, I do those beer videos. It would make sense for me to do this.
It would not make sense for you not to.
Right. So I went out and I did it, and the beer just kind of, you can go on Instagram.com. You can follow us on Instagram and find the video out there. And I have another one, a take two, that I will be posting. But it's it's stupid.
It's a glassy mess.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. And your son is hilarious.
Yeah.
Using this as an excuse to have a beer, right?
Yeah. 14-year-olds, their way of thinking is, they think anytime you're doing any kind of like vice, that it's that you're doing it to the hilt. So like if I'm drinking one beer, he acts like I just got done like doing a cake stand, and
like one of my old 3-dayers.
Right. Yeah. That's how they perceive anytime you do, like anytime you're doing anything, it's a party.
Yeah, one shot is all of the shots that anyone's ever taken in the history of alcohol distillery.
I'm gonna get into brewing beer.
Nice.
I think starting next month, I've got some stuff on my wish list that I'm gonna fill out because I turned 41 at the end of this month. So I'm going to. I turned 41, but I still get like birthday money from family.
Schrader Brow?
Yeah, I'm gonna make I have a name for it.
Do you?
It's Poor Suckers or something. It's Edwardo's. Is it Poor Suckers? I think it's Poor Suck. Yeah, I think that was what I was going for. Was poor suckers.
Poor suckers, like P-O-O-R,
Yeah.
P-O-U-R, or P-O-R-E.
Oh.
Does it suck things out of your pores?
Well, that's
Are you pouring over it? Are you pouring it out?
Well, I was hanging on the time spent poorly theme.
Oh, got it.
So,
I like it.
So yeah, and I think it was suckers. It's because you're sucking back a beer. Yeah. So that was the idea. That's kind of where. And the first thing I'm going to try, the kit I'm going to buy comes with a beer you can make. But the first thing I'm going to try is after that is I'm going to try to do a cold smoke brew. Yeah,
my uncle did that way back when, like when they first started making home brewing kits, and and this was in the 90s, and he had a printer at home because he worked for a computer security software. He sold computer security software in the 90s, like when the internet was first becoming.
He made labels, I bet.
Yeah, he made some labels for it. It was called Borderline Beer because it was brewed to the point that it was just enough alcohol. It was the maximum amount of alcohol and still be beer and not be like malt liquor or something.
Oh, okay.
And so he called it Borderline Beer, and it had this cool like cow skull on it. It was a really cool label, and he and his wife did it. It was awesome.
What is the top percentage you can go up to before it becomes something else?
I don't remember.
Most of the beers I see that they top out at like 8%.
Yeah.
Like this one I've got this I think it's called Syntax. Mm-hmm. It's in the fridge there. It's one of the upcoming ones I'm going to do a beer video on. It's like a peanut butter one, but it's 8%.
Yeah, I think that's
right. Probably where it tops out.
And I don't think it's an even number. I think it's like 8.7 or something. Because I know it wasn't. There was a.
I bet you we could find out.
Decimal. Yeah, we're sitting here with an oracle.
What percent? I'm the best at this beer. What's the minute? What is the minimum beer percent?
When does it not be? When is it not near beer? And what is the maximum for it to be beer?
The maximum amount present can be 20%, but such types are rarely consumed.
Wow, that's 40 proof.
That is.
That's
wow.
So is Mad Dog 2020 technically beer?
That could be.
I don't know. And nowadays, there's so many flavors. And
yeah. No. Yeah.
It's gotten to the point where it's like all of these.
Sorry to interrupt. Sound like Hudds is coming through your mic now. He got super low for me, and every other word isn't picked up. Oh.
He's right. I'm not here.
Talking to your mic. You might need to tip it up towards your face a little bit more.
Is it here? No, it's not. There it goes.
Oh,
there it was.
I had the wrong one on.
He's got that board there, and when you've got a board with that many switches, sometimes you forget which switch is which.
We're two men down tonight, so like I don't have all of them turned up, and I have uprights on my board for. I have 1 and 4 on right now, so that's
Thanks, Jake.
Thank you. That better to hit it now than to figure it out later.
Yeah, while we're talking about senseless beer talk and not something serious like Saved by the Bell podcast.
Oh, that is coming up on this episode, or at some point.
Oh shit! Did I spoil it?
Well, we can talk about it at any point. But so Joe Biden picked his running mate today.
He did. That seems to have taken precedent over just about everything.
He picked it today. Just today. It just happened today.
Yeah. And I think I got the message from whatever my Apple News app is on my iPad like 2-3 hours ago. And I've already spread like, hey, Kamala Harris said Joe Biden's accusers, she believes every one of them.
Yeah, I am not from April of 2019.
Yeah, that was the tail end of hashtag believe all women.
Yeah, was that the inappropriate petting thing?
God no, there were
or the smelling or like
he's been in Washington long enough.
Kind of weird.
He's probably raped He's probably got Cosby style numbers.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, Yeah, I don't trust anybody in politics. I mean, look at Kamala Harris. She's like, oh, I believe all of his accusers, but he's good enough for me to jump on his ticket.
Exactly. Well, so I was talking to a coworker today, and I was like, yeah. She's like, did you see who the vice president nominee is? And I was like, yeah, it's kind of predictable. And she's like, how so? And I go, I would hope the delay for the announcement had less to do with the fact that she's black and a woman, and more to do with the fact that like she wanted to like find out more what's in it for her.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like, I can't just be your black female person on the ticket. I have to have like
this has to be more than tokenism.
Yeah,
and it isn't.
And that's what it feels like to me.
Yeah,
and it feels like it's going to be that. Unfortunately,
pull these people in, and I don't think it's going to happen.
And there's information out there that he's running his campaign as a bridge campaign,
mm-hmm.
which makes sense in a way because of all the chaos that this particular term has created.
Yeah,
but there needs to be it will take more than a decade to repair the damage that's happened in the past 4 years.
Well, and he won't be a bridge to anything.
No.
He's not Terabithia, not nowhere, not over the River Kwai. Like he's going to what is he? He's going to be 78 when he takes office.
Yeah,
and he's not.
He might not make it.
Yeah,
through the first term. I think his plan is to not finish or he'll finish his first term.
I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't have some terminal
or
disease
if he
already.
It could be, yeah. I mean, that could be the play. It could be like this is the avenue we need to take it. I can't cede my nomination at this point.
Yeah,
but if I give it to her, and then she takes my place once I have to step down.
Mm-hmm.
Then I like going down these little avenues and these little rabbit holes with my, like, I don't have any true information to base my opinions on. This
mm-hmm.
is just kind of like weird precedents.
You look at his behavior, his lack of really being anywhere
or prepared.
Like for the last month, about a month ago, he just kind of dropped off radar. And you know that there's still plenty of, I mean, between the Hard Times and Babylon Bee, like all of these satire sites are just spitting out stuff making fun of him and his just kind of weird codgeriness, and even he hasn't picked a running mate yet because he's not sure which one he likes the smell of best. I mean, like all of these jokes, but you haven't seen anything from Biden himself. And the last couple of times we saw him speaking at places, he was incoherent, might be the only word for it. I mean, he'd just be like, you'll see videos of, my conservative friends will share these videos of like, and they're edited between speeches, but like he'll be talking about one thing and he'll switch to another, and then they'll cut to another speech where he's talking about something and he switches in the middle to a completely different topic. And it's not like they're cutting that many times. It's not like that scene in Taken 3 where he's trying to jump the fence.
It's just these weird tangential detours.
Yeah, he's just like, and dude, what's that got to do with the price of tea in China? And speaking of China, I don't like Chinese people. And it's like, Mr. Biden, Mr. Vice President.
Maybe he's taking a play from Trump's playbook, because that's kind of how he moves kind of all over the map a little bit when he's talking. But that stream of consciousness kind of, it's working to a degree because he's got a base, and it's really, just to kind of speak of Trump, it's really bizarre to me how many people are embracing him at this point.
Well, and are still on board there.
And just so like devout. Like I've seen people post stuff on Facebook, and it's like this one person I follow on Facebook posted something about proud of her daughter. And then also she had to put in there that her daughter was a Trump loving Carrie. It's like
it's gotten to the point of idolatry to me.
Yeah, it's kind of disgusting.
I can't get behind that. Like, and the other thing is and nobody's talking about it. And there's some mealy-mouthed excuses. But Trump was on Epstein's flight logs, and anybody that was on those flight logs, fuck them. I got nothing for you.
Yeah.
Nothing. Trump's rich enough to have his own private plane.
Something is up.
He didn't need to be on there.
Yeah.
And I know he's tried to distance himself, and this is one of the few political things my mother and I will argue about because she's an ardent Trump supporter. But I don't believe in him, and I don't think he's okay. I don't think he has enough self-control to be the president because, I mean, say what you will about Bill Clinton, who was heavily on those flight logs, but he had a good public face. He had self-control. I don't like him. I don't like Clinton's another one I think should be in prison right now. No presidential pardon. No, whatever. Like prison. He's got like 47 trips on that jet.
Wow.
He's got a girl in court documents that were released in this Maxwell thing, the ones that they unsealed. This girl names Clinton in them. He's ditching his Secret Service to get on this plane to go to this island.
Wow.
Like there's no question that the dude is a monster.
Yeah, I mean, he's not just going to have Mai Tais.
And like, is it a sexually transmitted disease he picked up from Hillary? Because she's killed like 900 people. You ever seen that infographic with all the people the Clintons have killed?
No.
That shit is wild.
So Jake says, back to Biden, didn't he get super defensive about the cognitive test?
Both of them did.
Trump and Biden.
Trump made a big deal about passing the dementia test.
Yeah, I saw part of his interview on. I didn't watch the whole thing. I got some. A buddy of mine told me some of the stuff that wasn't hit. It wasn't the Axios one, but it was the one he did on Fox News with.
Okay.
I can't remember that. Is it Chris Matthews? No,
that's the.
No. It's Tucker, Mike Wallace or Wallace? One of the Wallace. Yeah, Chris
Tucker.
Wallace, I think.
That might be it. I try and avoid all of the major news networks.
Yeah, I watched. It was an interview that he did following the Axios one that he did for HBO, which was just a fucking train wreck. Yeah. But by what would anybody expect at this point?
Yeah. The only thing that makes me think that there is something okay about Trump is how hard they've fought him. This is never, like, it's completely unprecedented how much they've tried to impeach him. They've tried to. And
I see some arguments coming from the right that come with those arguments, but they usually come embedded in so many other nonsense arguments that you're just kind of like, it's like, too long, didn't read. I can't keep.
Yeah.
Like it gets to the point where if you have this window of opportunity where you want to say what you can in support of him, then say that.
Yeah.
But don't get all this other horse shit and stack it on top, because then I fail to see your point.
Well, and
that's the problem I think that both sides of the argument are having right now. Is like,
yeah, well,
because even on the liberal side, they come at it from such a fucking vigorous standpoint. Well,
and they try and pile on everything. Like, you can just share tweets that this guy has put out with no commentary, and you can be like, maybe we shouldn't
just Cronkite it. Just give the news. Say that, like, here's this.
Yeah.
Make up your own fucking mind. But the way the news delivers any information anymore is it's all about
editorializing.
Yeah, it's like,
and you can't
do
like, that.
It's almost like a tattletale getting on the mic, and it's like, Trump did this.
It's yellow journalism.
Shame. And it's like, okay, well, but you what you're doing is making, like, you're getting a rallying cry from the people that you want to agree with you. They're like, yeah, fuck Trump.
Yeah.
But then the people that, like, are embracing Trump are just getting more emboldened.
They're hugging tighter.
Yeah.
And it's the same if it's an interpersonal argument or if it's a national level, global level political argument. If you start yelling, you're not going to convince anyone.
It's the same thing with this mass debate.
Yeah.
Because you see it coming from both sides of the argument. Now we have anti-maskers.
Yeah.
And then maskers. And it's like, can you just be?
Yeah. Can you just
be?
I don't wear one. I didn't wear one on the plane when I flew across the country. I didn't wear one when I drove across the country. I just don't do it.
I wear one.
That's me.
But I wear one for the people in my house because they care. Like, I'll be honest, my wife and my kids care about it more than I do.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not gonna get in a fight over it.
Nope.
Why? What's the point?
And I've been respectful if I've gone places. Like I haven't been to the store. I'll order most of my stuff online. It'll just get delivered.
But if you have to go to the store and they require a mask, you're not going to not wear one.
Right. I'll put it on. I'll hang it off my ear or something. I mean, it'll be there. So if somebody gives me some shit, then I'll put it on. But I don't know. Like, there's too much that says it's really not anything. And all I have to go on really is what has happened locally and who has died. We've had 19 deaths and they were all in one old folks home and they all had other problems. I don't know anybody who's died of it. I know an old woman who had it and is still alive.
The only thing I'm nervous about is just, so I guess I have two thoughts on it. My first one is like, if we had been more like on the ball with shit at the first part, we wouldn't be in the position we are now.
Maybe.
Like, and then my other thought is a little nervous about going back to school in the school setting, just because, there are vulnerable people or more susceptible people. There's a lot of old people that are still teaching.
Yeah.
And maybe they should retire. Maybe they should look at this as an opportunity because they have an old school mentality to the teaching style too. So it's time to retire. But be that as it may, there are people that do have compromised immunities that are working in the school system. But I think they're also taking measures that are practical. Mm-hmm. But it's going there's all that pushback from both sides of the argument still.
Yeah. Well, and the argument that gets me the most is the mail-in voting. Like, if we have to do mail-in voting, if we can't wear masks and go vote, then why are we wearing masks at all? Right?
They won't let you wear a mask to go vote?
No, the Democrats are pushing this mail-in voting thing.
Yeah. For
the presidential election. And I don't agree with it. Like, I don't think that's the right way to do it.
If you could vote in okay, so mail-in's always been here.
Right.
But now we're doing absentee. It on a right. Now we're doing it on a national scale.
Now they're pushing it as everyone mail-in votes.
Right. Is it mail-in or nothing? Are they not going to open up the polls at all?
They haven't decided.
Okay.
But this is what the push is. And so if I could wear a mask and go vote, I would do that. If that would comfort the people.
If you could vote and actually go into a
But if I can't do that, then why is anybody wearing masks at all? Because I'm not going to be. You voted for the last 22 years. This will be your 23rd time that you're legally able to vote.
Right.
You've never been in that voting booth with another person.
Well, especially here locally. I know it's probably different in bigger cities and bigger populations.
But your booth is your booth.
Your booth is your booth.
You're spread. There's curtains. You're separate. And I know that most of the people that sit, especially locally, are old people.
Right.
So let me put on a mask. I'll suck up my pride and put on a fucking mask and be a ninja so I can go vote. But if that's not acceptable, then why is anybody wearing masks at all?
Right.
Because if they're not going to protect them, if it's not going to protect the people at the voting booth who have masks themselves and the voters are wearing masks, and if somebody doesn't have a mask, don't let them vote. That's cool. Fuck them. Well, they can't comply for 15 minutes to vote. Fuck them.
Well, that's I guess I agree with you because I don't know what the whole argument is, because the school thing is scarier to me than any of the things that are going on right now, because you're around these people for extended periods of time. And I think the longer you're around a person or the longer you're around an individual that's carrying it,
Mhm.
the more
time
the
on
better-
target means
yeah.
more time.
So
that
like
you have to catch
it's
it.
like 15 minutes in the grocery store and you're passing all these people, you're probably going to be fine.
Yeah, you're not
Because
sharing
you're not,
germs with those
you're not
people.
one, you've got your mask on anyway if you're in the store because everyone's requiring it mostly. But two, you're not spending a maximum of like more than 5 to 10 minutes with any one particular person. And now they've got the glass wall there. Why can't they put protocols in place at the voting booths to keep them, one, sanitized? They do it everywhere else now. They're doing it everywhere else now. Why not adapt?
Mhm.
It's like they're saying we're not willing to adapt
For this,
voting for this one
thing.
thing. We want to complicate things and make things. And I would almost say, okay, Democrats, concede. Don't do the voting booth. Try to win the election legitimately.
Mhm.
And they're afraid that Trump's gonna Putin's gonna white horse and win the election for him, which he might.
He could.
Who knows? But
But
he
nobody
does,
talks about Israel
But-
fucking with elections.
Right.
And they do it every year. They've approved every single president we've ever had, including Trump.
Yeah. Well, and so concede, because what'll happen is if Biden wins through mail-in ballots, it will be illegitimized by Trump and his entire base,
Right.
whether
Just
he
like
wins
Trump's
it whether he
election
wins
over
it
Clinton.
legitimately or not.
Yep. Just like beating Clinton was. It's just going to be 4 more years of this from the opposite side.
Yeah.
And do we really need that? I don't need that. I
No.
don't need a government that's locked up and fucking with the president. I don't need that.
No.
That's why I don't want another 4 years of Trump, because it's just going to be another 4 years of, hey, fuck this guy. Let's see how much we can mess with him for another 4 years while he's a lame duck.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's Biden, then it's going to be the same from the Trump people. And suddenly the Republicans are going to give a shit. Even the ones that are against him. Oh, I don't approve of him. And I hate his motherfucking Twitter account. I wish he would just shut up. Like
Trump?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a little kid.
Don't fucking type, dude. Just stop it. Like, if you want to post some facts, just post some facts. Stop fucking fighting with everybody. And we've been talking offline quite a bit about conspiracy theories, and this is where they lose me. All of them. They start throwing in weird shit. Oh God, there's alchemy going on, and they've got demon worshippers, and there's fucking time travel. Like, that's where QAnon lost me. Was time travel. Motherfucking time travel, Eduardo. You had me on these people being fucking, pedophiles. Leave it alone.
Then he's like, oh, let me take it up an unbelievable notch. Let's make it fucking sci-fi.
They're wearing creepy red shoes made out of human skin, and they're worshiping devils and time traveling. Stop it. Cut while you're ahead. I don't care if those people believe they're worshiping devils.
You had me at hello.
Yeah.
Jerry Maguire. You don't have to keep selling the bullshit.
Handshake was good. You didn't need to try and jerk me off too. Like, leave it alone. Make your argument. Put out the points that are true. I mean, you look at like Podesta's art, and this is the Comet Ping Pong Pizzagate thing. So they had a room where they could rape and kill children in the basement of this place, right? Leave it at that. Don't tell me they're worshiping the devil, because you're going to lose people. Don't tell me there's time-traveling reptilian aliens involved. Leave it the fuck alone. Because use what's in reality that you can prove with evidence. You can't prove that these people are reptilian aliens, and I can't prove that they're not. Just so leave it alone. Just leave that solipsistic shit out.
What presidents has been there?
Yeah.
That's been like, oh, well, this all tracks. Reptilian aliens? Okay.
Do you see the artifacts in the video? Like, yeah, there are artifacts in the video. Like, there's a reason that she glitches out. It's because it's a digital format, and it was 1996. Just make your point that you have facts that will back it up. I mean, the art in these people's house alone is enough to be like, they're probably fucking kids.
Yeah.
And then you've got girls testifying in 2015. You've got flight logs. You've got convictions. Leave it at that. Stop going off the deep end. Conspiracy theory is ridiculed for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because those people are constantly going 2 steps too far.
Well, the Bill Hicks will go. Well, this would be a perfect segue too, but we'll go into that. I was going through the video today, and like, there's certain parts it's like I'm sold, but then this guy will kind of go off into the weeds somewhere with like this weird example, and it's like, and so those aren't the parts that I actually pulled to play, because it was like, you're defeating your whole fucking argument right here. And there isn't a single one out there that isn't like that. Like, yeah. I get it. Reagan believed in astrology, and so he had things timed out in his presidency, right, based on those things. So you can use that as a predictor of when things will happen, right? Even as far as this year is gone. Or the one about Baron Trump being a Satan time traveler. Yeah, because there's a Baron Trump book from like 1864 or something. And like, but why? Why can't you just leave those out? If you believe that, you believe that, and that's cool. Right. But you can't prove it, so leave it the fuck out, because it hurts your argument. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it goes back to like Trump's tweets. You're hurting your position by being yourself. And, you know, people will post that shit all the time. Oh, be yourself. It's a beautiful thing to be. Like, no, it's not. No, it's not. The real me is a loudmouth cocksucker, and you don't want him yelling in your face or anything. So I try not to be myself most of the time. But like arguments like this, they bring it out in me. And these people and their stupid shit, like just hold that shit back. Oh yeah. But the bit about this Alex Jones stuff, about him being controlled opposition and that sort of thing, totally believe it. I believe QAnon is controlled opposition. Yeah. I think it's put out there so certain people will get some hope and be like, oh, we're going to make this change. The storm's coming. We're going to wipe out the pedophiles and drain the swamp and great cornholio. And it's not going to happen. Right. It's just, it's a rallying cry. BLM, controlled opposition. Right. Well, we're just going to kind of slip back into relaxing. Yeah. And watching our 86-inch TVs. I bought an 86-inch TV. But yeah, I mean, that when all this stuff happens, it's like I'm like, well, this would be great if we actually did anything with it, but it's all just going to kind of like go back to what it was, and then we'll revisit in another 20 years and not do anything with it then. Well, and if I hadn't had this little, I don't know, tension release just now where I just kind of spouted about how fucked up it all is, I would go insane, like literally insane, following these rabbit holes. Because you'll find them. I mean, as soon as you look at one, you're down 11 different rabbit holes. You're talking about fucking one world governments and yada, yada, yada. Do you know, I don't think that's a thing. I don't think anybody wants this one world underground government because the rich people are making more money. We're going to go into that. Some of the description in that link I sent you of what the difference between the two are. Yeah. Is just great to like kind of go through and dissect. It'll be fun to go through and read that. And all it is a bunch of rich people trying to get more rich. That's it. And there's ways you can get around that. I mean, you've got enough room up here and you've got some chickens and you could. I had some chickens. You had some chickens. Did they kill each other or did you get a coyote or something? That's an interesting story. So we'll take a brief segue for the chicken story, but keep your. So we had 6 chickens, right? 2 of them were roosters. Originally, we had 4 roosters because the guy that like sexed our chickens was wrong in a grade school hatching project. Got it wrong because we brought five chickens home thinking we had 5 hens. 4 of them were roosters. We ended up getting rid of 2 immediately. Was it like a chicken gangbang then? Oh fuck! That one hen. She was just a mess. Fucking wrecked. I'm sure. She didn't lay eggs for like 6 months, like longer than it would take. she was like 9 months old before she started laying eggs.
Wow.
And so anyway, so we got rid of the 2. Then we still had 2 roosters, and then we picked up another 4 hens, and so we had 7 chickens. One eventually died just of like, I don't know what circumstance. I just found it dead in the coop one day. Got sick or whatever. And then we had 6 forever. And then earlier this year, we got rid of the other 2 roosters because the neighbor turned us in for having roosters, and you're not supposed to have them in the city limits unless you're like kids in 4-H or something. And I think then you have to prove it. So, so we got rid of the 2 roosters. We found a home for them. And then we had just the 4 hens. Then one died.
Was it a soup? Was the home a soup?
No, we gave it to some people that wanted some roosters.
Nugget and thigh. Here we go.
So, well, and I don't know. Like for me, it was always like, I don't know. I can't kill one of my chickens. I just can't. And so, but then one died. So then I like tossed it in the garbage sack, throw it away. And then like we went to Montana and we came back, and then one got hauled over the fence into the neighbor's yard and got killed, like got something packed it off and killed it. Well, over the winter we had raccoons or a raccoon in our yard because I saw it. We had like footprints in the track or in the snow, but it never went back there. And we still had roosters. And I think the roosters were, while they might have been raping the fuck out of those chickens, the hens,
they were keeping them safe.
That's what pimps do.
Like it's a good team. The pimp pants, strong little iceberg slam shit.
But so they the one hen died, so the one hen got hauled off, and then like last week I was out here doing, or about it, well, it was 2 weeks ago now, almost 2 weeks. I was out here doing a Time to Go Mad show with Joe Madness, Joe Madness, and
friend of the show.
Yeah, friend of the show. I forgot to shut the gate to the back, and my wife decided at some point she was going to let the dogs outside, and so I'm in here doing the show, and all of a sudden I can hear my wife outside, and I just hear her going, no, and my dog's name is Lady. She's like, Lady, no, and it's just like it's more and more. I'm like, oh, and I'm just thinking, oh my god, did the dog get hit by a car or something, or what? Dog get hurt?
Not the
and
dog.
And so she comes in, she's like, the dogs killed the chickens, and we were down to 2 at that point. And so I was like, they killed the chickens, and so I was like, Joe, and we were in the middle of the show. He was like, I gotta go.
I gotta go.
Okay, and so I just abruptly ended the stream.
There's been a chicken murder,
and so I went out, and they got one, but they were just running around like crazy with this one dead chicken. And who knows how long they had it for? But
even the most docile dog turns into a complete fucking animal when it kills something.
We've been calling her like the chicken murderer for the past 2 weeks. So, but it was both dogs. They both played their part. But the one chicken was alive, though. When I went back there, it had like its beak open, like that half open beak, and it's just kind of sitting there, like all wide eyed and kind of like just.
I hate my everything. Just end it.
Then it lived another couple of days, and I was asking friend of the show, Jeff, if he wanted a hen, because I was like, do you have extra hens? He's like, we don't have enough hens. Because I was like, if he has extra hens, maybe he'll give me a couple so that my one isn't lonely. And I was like, okay, well, do you want the one that we have? And then he's like, well, let me check. And so then in between him checking, and then I like texted my son. I'm like, and we were in Moscow doing something up there, and I texted my son. I was like, check or go feed the chickens, or go make sure the chicken has enough water and food and stuff, or can get the eggs. And he goes out there. He goes, I can't find it. He texts me. I was like, send me pictures. Look around. And so then he looks around, and it got hauled off into the neighbor's yard again. He goes, there's a bunch of feathers, and there's a big clump, like a feather clump, bloody feather clump over there in the yard. And I'm like, take a picture. And I was like, yep, that's it.
That's it.
So I was like, that. Then I'm like, okay, we're done with chickens. Next year, we're going to modify that and make it a fire pit back there. But anyway, back to now. We've gotten the chicken story out of the way. I think it was important to tell.
It was. You weren't sacrificing them to dark pagan gods.
No.
They were sacrificed to regular beasts. The controlled opposition idea is that there's a built-up fake enemy involved. Whatever it is, it's Satan worshipers. I mean, they did it in the 80s with Dungeons and Dragons and the Satanic Panic. We did it with God, in as early as the 1800s, they used the Chinese as something.
Chicken pimp joke.
Chick James gonna have to slap a bitch.
Nice.
Fantastic, Jake. They talked about the yellow peril and, all of this anti-Chinese rhetoric. You'll see hints of it in Deadwood. You'll see hints of it in Tombstone, but they would take some other, whatever that other is.
Yeah.
And they tout it up as this big, like, amorphous, like, other that you can fight. And nowadays it's a virus, this invisible cloud thing that can kill you at any point. No matter how healthy you are, no matter what you do for your immune system, which is another thing they've never talked about, is here's some things you can do to bolster your immune system so maybe you have a better chance of surviving. Nobody said that. Nobody, not once in the last 8 months have I heard shit about that.
All right, why don't you take some vitamins?
Take a multivitamin and get some exercise.
Some Centrum.
Some fresh air and sunshine.
Yeah, no, it's just everybody, let's panic.
Let's wait until someone can give us a pill or an injection that will fix us. Let's do that.
Oh, and
because
Putin,
there's money to be made.
Putin made a vaccine.
Putin and his vaccine.
And his daughter
Bill
took
Gates
it.
And his vaccine.
She took it, so it must be good.
I don't know.
That's what he says.
She's probably some genetically modified Russian super soldier. Because when we were kids, it was the fucking Russians we were supposed to be scared of, kids.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's the Chinese again, and it was Kim Jong-un for a while. And then it was his sister. Do you remember when it was Kim Jong-un's sister? Right before this pandemic started, when Kim Jong-un supposedly died in surgery and his horrible propagandist sister was going to be in charge.
There was some rumor that some other bitch killed him too.
Yeah.
And that
there's all kinds of...
there's this secret takeover. He's actually dead. I don't know if he's...
Who knows with North Korea?
Who knows?
Maybe it really is a paradise inside there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never been there.
Right. Could be wonderful.
Yeah. Never been to North Korea.
All the stories about him could be true.
Yeah. He could score 8,000 points per basketball game.
Yeah.
I don't know. Glorious leader. Best Korea. But there will always be this other. And the concept of the other gets shifted down into these things called controlled opposition.
Yeah.
And controlled opposition ends up being more your Black Lives Matter movement or Occupy Wall Street. I think they were not, because they didn't last and no one's talked about them. But the Occupy movement,
oh yeah,
I think that one might have been a real protest. But when you have tour buses and shirts printed up and deliveries of bricks on corners, that's a group that is bought and paid for to go in and rabble rouse.
Yeah.
They are not, and they're not outside the control of the people who are, they're trying to make their image better, whatever that is.
Right.
And it's good, solid crowd control tactics. Because if you've got people on the ground,
if you could build it with a small faction too, you don't have
Absolutely.
to do, because people are inclined to follow, which you've seen.
You need 20 to 40 people if you want a protest that's going to last 60, 70, 80, 90 days.
So so there's because there'll be the arguments like, you mean to tell me that the government or whatever, one world government would want to would get thousands of people to protest or whatever. No, they wouldn't. They don't need to.
They need 30 people, 40 people.
Yeah.
And you take those 40 people, you train them, you send them out. They're not going to be the ones that are out there throwing bricks. They're going to be the ones out there whispering about throwing bricks. You're going to be like, hey, look at this big pile of bricks over here, guys. Let's
aren't they great?
Let's fucking do that. That business looks like, and what businesses are they burning?
Yeah.
the businesses they are claiming to try and protect. Why did you burn down that guy's comic book shop? What, was that oppressing you? I don't think so.
Right.
And I don't know. I don't, things like, well, like
So-
QAnon, they've got, there's obviously somebody close to Trump who's involved in that, because they'll say something and then a couple days later it'll come out in one of his speeches. And it's just some little thing. And I think it's there to try and give them credibility and also give him credibility. But I think that they're part of everything, because Trump has been friends with the Clintons for years. He's donated to their what is that foundation that paid for their daughter's wedding and stole all those kids from Haiti? The Clinton Foundation. Duh. He's donated money to them. And I know that like in 92, 93, he said, if I was going to run for president, I'd run as a Republican because they're easier to control. And what did he do? 18 years later?
Yeah. Well, there's whatever interview he did with Oprah Winfrey. Different. It was like almost a different person.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever watch that?
Yeah.
Where he was better spoken then than he
cagey.
is now.
He's very smart. I think that fame and the regular deterioration of age has made him less cagey.
Erudite, or it's not even so. It wasn't that he was so smart, but it was just like he was thoughtful in what was coming out. Like the word, like everything he had was like a thoughtful thing, and it wasn't like anything that seemed like coached. It seemed like these were thoughts he'd come up with on his own.
Mm-hmm.
And if Oprah Winfrey's like, because she's built this reputation over the years for being like a source to go to, and she's having him on a show to talk to him.
Rumor has it she's a child fucker too.
To talk to him like she's almost in support of him running for president at the time. Yeah. This was like, I think it was in the 80s.
Late 80s, early 90s.
Early 90s.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's bizarre.
It is. But, up until he came out as a Republican, there was a good chunk of the black community that liked him and and used him as an example. Like, oh, you're Trump rich. He became slang. And he always has been my whole life. I mean, there were Trump board games, and he had Trump steaks, and he had a school, and he had buildings,
Home Alone 2.
Golden buildings with his name on it. Home Alone 2. He was in, just 2 years before he ran for president, he was on fucking WWF. Yeah. Possibly getting the quaff shaved. It ended up being Vince McMahon that got shaved, but of course it did, because he can't lose to Trump or he can't win against Trump on TV. All that stuff. It's just all very weird. And I don't care if they believe weird shit, but there's some crazy Oprah Winfrey stuff out there. She had a kid when she was 14 and it ended up dying, and she sacrificed it to some pagan god so she could get her riches. There's some weird shit out there. And you know what I think? I think just because of who she's been buddy with over the years, that she's into that kitty diddling too. And that's it. I don't think that there's some weird dark devil that they're all sacrificing children to. I think they're just fucking kids and then killing them so they can't talk about it. And some of them they like enough that they get to get out and testify. Yeah. But
do you think she's I have a hard time buying the whole thing, just because it's what would be the motivation to get into some form of show business? Is it as a masquerade the desire to fuck kids, or
no? The show business thing is because that's
a primary interest.
That's a spot where you can get a hold of kids.
Oh, that's true.
Have you ever met a stage mom? They're fucking horrible people. And they'll do anything. You get a little hint of it in Jessica Jones with Patsy, her mom. But it's not just my raggedy ass mom blew a producer so I could get a spot on the Disney Channel. No, mom sold the little girl, because there's that guy that works for
Nickelodeon who loves children's feet. Have you heard about this guy?
No.
He's creepy as fuck. And he's another one of those ones that it's like, why does he still allowed to produce children's shows if he's giving these girls $10 so he can rub their feet? And then whatever else happens?
I might be on a
You're on a
watch list now.
Dan Schneider have a weird foot fetish? Yes, he does. I don't have anything for you to take, Dan. That guy right there.
That guy right there. Oh, well, no, yeah, no, duh.
Doesn't he look like he licks some toes?
Let me get that guy on screen real quick. Yeah, he's totally a toe licker.
And I don't care. I don't care if that's your thing, but as the law stands now, you got to keep it over 18, man. Just stop doing it to these little girls.
Yeah, for sure. Ugh. What a creepy dude.
Isn't he?
So so Bill Hicks to Alex Jones.
Yes.
Basically is the you sent this to me a few weeks ago, and the video itself for the most part was really compelling. At the very least it was just interesting because
there's some crazy
I discovered some Bill Hicks stuff later. Like I didn't follow when I was a kid because I was too young, and it wasn't like that wasn't on like my radar at all. I think he died in like 94 or something like that. 93, 94. But so the theory is basically that Alex Jones existed as a different person, and then there's a couple different theories. Right. Yeah, one that I went down earlier today was on another video where there is actually a younger looking guy, and then the same year there's this pudgy looking guy that like all of a sudden looks a lot like him, but not quite. Mm-hmm. And that was where I think it was in 96. That's where they said that.
And they had the same best friend.
Hicks came in. Yeah, like, they share the same best friend.
There's all these little things that are like, wow, I mean, even if it's not true, it's awful compelling.
Yeah. I'll play the first 3 minutes of this video, and then there's a couple time codes.
Hey everybody, ODD here. What's good? I wanted to dive into this Alex Jones Bill Hicks debate. I've been researching the idea that Alex Jones might be Bill Hicks, and I got to admit that at first I thought it was completely silly and I didn't want to go there, but I watched a fellow truth seekers video called Alex Jones is Bill Hicks 15 Proofs. It's by Taboo Conspiracy. Big shout out to him.
This is the one. That was the one I was looking at. I think.
So anyway, this video will probably receive quite a bit of hate because there's a coordinated attack on this information.
Did you know he's not in it for the likes?
I believe, and that's what it appears.
Is anybody?
B, there are tons of people brainwashed by InfoWars, and they think it's a legit source for truth.
InfoWars.
People who love Bill Hicks think that he would never do anything like this because he was a loose cannon. Luckily, I've never been here for the likes, so I don't really care. Anyway, some say that even if Alex Jones is Bill Hicks, it doesn't matter. I say, if Bill Hicks was recruited to assume the character of Alex Jones as the leading controlled opposition to the mainstream media, then I think that's a big deal. And let me say this, Bill Hicks, for what he was and what his work consisted of, I absolutely love him. He was a total badass, and I have all of his work, and I watch it every once in a while.
We have figured it out. Go back to bed, America. Your government has figured out how.
I like how he's like, I watch it. Like, you think he's going to say all the time, and he's like, every once in a while.
I cut back to it like old Hudds with George Carlin. And, what this guy.
How it all transpired. Go back to bed, America. Your government is in control again. Here's American Gladiators. Watch this. Shut up. Go back to bed, America. Here is American Gladiators. Here is 56 channels of it. Watch these pituitary retards bang their fucking skulls together and congratulate you on living in the land of freedom. Here you go, America. You are free to do as we tell you. You are free to do as we tell you.
I don't want to disrespect the man if he is dead, but I genuinely don't think so, and here's why. First off, they look identical. When comparing pictures of the two, you'd have to be blind not to see the similarities.
It is interesting, like watching these pictures.
Yeah.
There's a point here where he goes down this weird rabbit hole. Then I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I know we all have doppelgangers, but these guys both grew up in the state of Texas and have the same teeth,
Work
which
at
is
the
damn
same
near an
public access
impossibility,
television.
especially when considering all of the other things they have in common.
Then I got another time code here. See if I can get to it.
When you click on AJ's bio, it has some interesting things.
Oh, fuck you.
Khalam shaleh. Khalam shaleh.
Ads.
Mustahil.
Read the top part here. I became familiar with Alex Jones in the early 90s when he had his first cable access show in Austin, Texas. Alex used to sit in front of a star map, and I had a hard time putting my finger on exactly what it was that Alex was talking about. I remember the very last time Bill Hicks came to Austin Access, spring of '93, we were working on a script called Public Access about a Rush Limbaugh type character who angers a viewer, and the viewer came to the station and killed the host on air. Bill's character was an abstract composite of various Access personalities, including Alex. Okay? It's basically saying that Bill Hicks was assuming a role that incorporated Alex Jones. That's pretty funny. Now let's just finish this paragraph. Bill actually watched Alex one day and said, "He has magnetism, but I can't tell where he's going." So Bill Hicks and Alex Jones have supposedly been in the same place at the same time. I would say on multiple occasions if Bill was utilizing Alex's personality for his Rush Limbaugh type character. And there's no photos that exist of the two together. You can find Bill Hicks with Kevin Booth. You can find Alex Jones with Kevin Booth, but not Bill and Alex. It's not incriminating on its own, but it's worth your consideration as we continue. Bill Hicks was working on a...
So...
Well, and what's interesting is both of those are concerning Waco, Texas, and the Branch Davidian siege. The left is when Bill Hicks was there, and then 2 years later they were doing a retrospective or something, used Alex Jones. And I don't know, man.
It's definitely compelling. Then, okay, I'll jump ahead again a little bit.
Take it to where you lose it. Because you had a point, you said you lose it. You're like, no, I don't.
Oh, I didn't even grab those time codes.
Oh,
just because they kind of he just kind of goes off into the weeds, and he's like, and also,
yeah,
and it's like
that's what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah,
and also, everything like, before.
No, just hit just the facts.
Everything after that, and cut it because you're just.
If it starts to sound a little unbelievable, like a little bit far-fetched or out there, then like, okay, let's move on.
Well, and like Alex Jones looks the right age for what Bill Hicks would be, not what Alex
That's
Jones
what this next part
is. That what this is?
Oh, well, it's coming up. Yeah.
People say that Bill and Alex don't sound alike, but actually they do at times.
Oh, this part's...
Here's Bill Hicks.
You suck, buddy. You suck. I can yell at the comedian because I'm a drunk son. That gives me carte blanche. I got a gun and I'm drunk. I can do anything I want. I don't have a cock. I can yell at performers because I'm a fucking idiot because I got a gun.
That's another tangent I could love to go off on.
And here's Alex Jones.
You know what it's like to go to sleep every night knowing you work for a bunch of psychotic killers and you bastards are probably going to end up killing me one day? You know what it's like knowing you've ruined my life? You know what it's like, you sons of bitches? I'm tired of your crap. You commit evil, you're part of an evil system, and we're standing up against you. And the Republic is going to defeat you in the end.
I don't have a cock. I can yell at performers because I'm a fucking idiot.
Because I gotta go to sleep every night knowing you work for a bunch of psychotic killers and you bastards are probably gonna end up killing me one day.
Bill Hicks as an entertainer could do lots of voices, I'm sure. Hell, here's Alex Jones showing you some of his.
Well, we're down here at the legendary Access Studios, where Bill Hicks was interviewed by Lord Booth. Where Bill Hicks was interviewed by Lord Booth.
Get behind our troops out there in the Gulf. Road home for our boys comes back from Baghdad.
And here's the age difference.
This was the one for me.
Yeah.
But it really
that Bill Hicks is 12 years older than what his character.
One of the most common combos that people do.
Shut up, bro.
Character Alex Jones claims to be. That being said, let's play a little game.
Shall
How
we?
old is that man? 30 or 42?
He looks older than I do right now. I'm almost 40.
Yeah.
32 or 44? 35 or 47? 39 or 51?
Moving forward, Kevin Booth credits Bill Hicks and Alex Jones as the producer of his 2013 film, American Drug War II.
We'll just keep it going.
On many occasions, Alex Jones talks about being Bill Hicks.
Yeah.
Yes, I am Bill Hicks. Or to be more accurate, you didn't get it all, did you? You didn't get the full conspiracy. I played the character, Bill Hicks, for 15 years, my accomplice, Kevin Booth. And we fooled you all. The master actor, the master genius. Then I decided to bring forward an even more incredible persona, that of Alex Jones. The Queen of England's my mother. Oh, actually, that'll start a new conspiracy theory. Actually, Bill Hicks is my mother. No, the government, in an immaculate conception, climbed on top of my mother.
So there's an argument to be had that he's just having fun with the conspiracy theory piece of it with some of this stuff, but
mother, and that's how you got Alex Jones. I am the son of Obama, Bill Hicks. The whole world is a stage and each of us players upon it. I mean, as Bill Hicks, I know that better than most. Folks, I am Bill Hicks. And I'm sitting here looking at all this, and these people come up to me on the street, and they go, hey Joe, said it like 5 times. And then I try to think, I knew you were, I mean, not Joe.
Jones. Alex.
Whatever
Whatever your fucking name is. Alex Jones.
All right, the programming's wearing out. So I want to just get this out of the way. I am Bill Hicks.
Has been.
So those are the clip. That's what I clipped.
Yeah. And there's,
I mean,
what was the other
the link, or just if you want to watch the whole thing, Bill Hicks to Alex Jones, creating the controlled opposition. Basically, this sent me down a rabbit hole about the controlled opposition stuff, and which kind of is how we landed here.
Yeah.
Today. But yeah, I pulled up some information on the one world government, and it goes into a lot of like real interesting details about history of the debate. Medieval Italian poet and philosopher Dante Alighieri offered the strongest argument in support of a one world government in the Banquet, 1304 to 1307. He supported the idea of an omnipotent ruler. Dante suggested that having attained all the power under the sun, a supreme ruler wouldn't wage war or engage in aggression because he's already in control. Because he possesses everything, the ruler would not desire to possess anything further, and thus he would hold kings contentedly within the borders of their kingdoms and keep peace among them. Does that seem feasible or plausible at all?
No, because I think that the people that fall under that, I've been into conspiracy theories for 25 years, at least since mid high school.
Yeah.
One of my favorite topics,
and I'm just starting to dip my toes.
the absolute favorite topic of mine is this. And, you know, you hear things, a lot of them are anti-Semitic, a lot of them. And you have to sift through that shit to get to the stuff that seems like it's more real, like the 13 families of the Illuminati, like that sort of thing. I don't know if that's what they call themselves, but that's what pop culture has labeled them as. You know, the Rothschilds, the Astors, and on and on. And they really do own all the banks. The Rothschilds own all the banks. Like, it's not some conspiracy theory. They just do. Like, the big main banks, they're owned by them, the Carnegies, the Mellons, there's only a few families that run fucking everything. And I don't think, and I think Dante was wildly naive, thinking that someone who had everything
would
under the sun
would suddenly
would
be
settle.
content, and he'd be like,
like,
now
because
I
they
can
don't.
just,
Because
right.
I have some stuff. I don't have a lot of stuff, but I have some stuff. And you have some stuff. You've got a great fridge. The Rothschilds don't have that fridge.
Right.
But maybe they want it. And if they did, they'd just come take it.
Right.
But these people collect money. It's like the legends of dragons come from these people. Like, they just want to make their hoard bigger.
Right.
You know? And the only way to not fall under that is to just try and perfect the space that you have.
Right. Well, see, I think his argument comes only from his own perception, like his own personal feelings.
Right.
Like, if I had everything,
yeah,
I wouldn't want for anything more.
But
and it's like because there's a certain point where I'm going to be like, oh, I'm content, and I'm pretty content now. I'm satisfied. Like, me personally, like, I don't need to. Like, but everybody has different drives. There's people that need to go and try to pursue like higher office, like to be in control of things. And so it's illogical to think that if one person has all the power, that they're going to do good with it.
And these people are conditioned from childhood to be greedy.
Yeah.
Greedy for whatever it is that they're after. And it's most cases it's money, but sometimes, and money becomes power, but like, normal people will become content after a time once they hit a certain point. And I think based on studies, it's somewhere around about $73,000 a year in America. You can be comfortable and content, and you don't need to climb any higher to get any happier unless you've got that drive. And the type of people who have that drive are the type of people who need to be in power in every situation they're in. And they cannot feel weakness.
Right.
Which is why the people who are predatory end up moving higher. Because when you're predatory, you can't handle feeling weak. And so those people with those predatory predilections move up because they want to be president. And somebody said,
yeah, it takes a bit of a monster to want to pursue something like that. I don't think there's anybody out there today that wants to do it for the good of the people.
No, everybody wants to further their shit. I mean, look at Maxine Waters.
It's all agenda based.
Look at the section of California that she represents, and it's just trash. It's homeless people in rundown buildings, and she doesn't live there. She lives off in Beverly Hills. She just represents and has a building there. So she has a building where she keeps an apartment or something, so she can be the representative of that district. Or when Hillary Clinton was moved or bought a place in New York, so she could run for Senate in New York. It's the same thing. These people want to be in charge, and that's what they want. And there's a part of me who's like, what the fuck does it matter?
Yeah.
Like, it's not really affecting me. And it won't. As long as I stay out of the big cities, as long as I keep to my own little area, whatever.
Yeah. I think I think there needs to be some kind of government, but not the kind that we have today currently. I think there's a broken
it's definitely
system
busted.
in place. And but there's just so much of a content nature to it that nobody is willing to. There won't be an uprising, not in our lifetime.
Well, like what Bill was saying. I mean, there's an uprising going on right now. Half of Portland was on fire.
Well,
if it's to be believed. I mean, you've got people saying there's nothing going on, and you've got people saying like, "Oh God, the fucking secret police are stealing people because they're vandalizing too close to a federal building." And like,
it will be a long
knows?
time before there's anything like a meaningful one, though. We're too
like
fractured. We're too fractured as a country.
There'll be uprisings, but no revolution.
Right.
Yeah.
And even the history of the revolution, and I haven't delved that much into it, but even the history of the revolution is painted in a light that isn't exactly.
It's not true.
Accurate.
No.
It's like we got our freedom. No,
founding father idolatry is just as bad as
and
Trump and Biden and Democrat and Republican idolatry. They're just as bad. There's a reason that those 10 commandments are in the Bible, whether you believe in God or not. Those are good things to live by, because if you start bowing down to some golden calf, there's going to be a problem. Whether it's fandom, oh, I'm a Trekkie. Oh, I like wrestling. Oh, I love Marvel movies. Marvel movies are the best thing ever. I follow every comic book.
You can't walk lockstep with anything. Because what happens, and that's the biggest problem. Like, don't become a big like uber fan of like us or anything. I don't become a fan of anything like extremely like hardcore. I get like, I'll enjoy something, but I'll also like keep it at a distance, because it's like I like Jason Bateman a lot.
Yeah.
But what if tomorrow something came out about Jason Bateman?
Yeah.
That like, what if he was a kid diddler? Then all of a sudden, then I've got all this like Jason Bateman love I've poured onto everybody.
Bill Cosby kind of accusation.
And then I have to fucking go to bat for him.
Then this whole section of my identity is assaulted and assailed, and I'm off.
Right.
And what am I going to do to fill that hole? What am I going to do? And it comes down to people will find this thing. They'll build it up. It'll take this huge chunk of their whole existence, their whole identity.
Their identity relies on it.
And right
Kevin
now,
Smith fans, is an example. I'm a Kevin Smith fan, but not to the point where.
But not like where
I don't shower and bathe.
Like I find him personally reprehensible. I don't like his attitude. I don't like the way he talks about things. I just don't like the guy.
Right.
But I like his movies.
Well, and I'm not going to sit here and fight with you about, like, I'm not going to try to convince you to like him.
Yeah.
That's
but
absurd.
Like Mallrats is fantastic.
Fans, Mallrats is.
I'll watch Mallrats
phenomenal.
anytime it comes across. I'll be like, oh yeah. Or Zach and Miri Make a Porno. That movie is fun, fucking start to finish.
Yeah,
it's fun, and his movies are fun, with the exception of like Cop Out. He's got a pretty solid filmography that I've seen.
And Cop Out, I'll give him a pass because it was
he didn't get along with.
He didn't get along with Bruce Willis. Apparently, they've mended fences, but it was also like he didn't write the scrict. That wasn't his bait. Like, he didn't.
That makes a lot of sense.
This was one of the first things he came in on cold.
Oh,
but then he's like went and directed like CW shows. Like, he's done a bunch of Supergirls and shit like that. But
yeah, that show was good until late season 2, early season 3, when they just, again, another thing. And this wraps up two of the points I was making. One, when some single thing becomes so much of your identity that it's the only thing you can talk about, your sexuality, your race, your being a parent, drinking, those dudes in high school that were all about pot all the time. Like, that was their whole existence, was this plant.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have,
and they hold on to that through their 20s, 30s. And then it comes a point where it's like,
do you never move past
how old are you? Like, it's like, where can this conversation go? Can it go any further? Because all I hear now
is pot
is just a pothead.
And
I get your advocacy.
Yeah, because I believe in it. I think it should be legal in all 50 states, and I think that people should be able to use it medicinally. I think it's a great way to calm your nerves, and if you can be responsible and do that, fine. But if it's your only thing,
if it's your fucking lifeline,
then you are not worth knowing. It's like the people whose sexuality is the only thing about them, the only thing, or veganism or CrossFit. Like these people grab these things and it's, oh God, I'm such a fucking useless person that I have to hold my whole identity in this one thing. Mothers are that way. You see a lot of mothers,
especially first-time moms.
Yeah,
like if they're having their one kid,
and
oh man,
and then they shift into this. Oh,
and they act like they're the only one that's had a kid.
Right? Like no, half the population has had a kid. I will never have a kid. That's a good Joe Rogan joke, though. One of his stand-up bits about women wanting power. Like, you already have half of everything. You have all the people. You make all the people.
Yeah, no shit.
Fantastic. But anyway, and so there's that. But then that is something that can be used to manipulate people. And, like people who their only identifier is their race, nothing else, or feminists. They don't even care about women. They just identify with feminism and they want female empowerment, but not that one, not that woman.
She's a bitch.
She's a bitch. Don't give Karen anything.
Karen.
And all of that stuff, they use that because if we're fighting amongst ourselves, because it really is the rich versus the poor. There's no other separation that matters. I don't care what your race is. I don't care what your gender is. You can be a fucking dragon pixie for all I care and only want to fuck horses. I don't care. As long as, 1, I don't have to see that shit. 2, have to hear about that shit. And 3,
just let me go on my hikes. Let me do my thing. Let me do what I want to do.
As long as you provide some benefit to the community.
And don't hinder anything that I'm doing.
Speaking of, I will never be able to run for office because of this podcast right here. Not any other episode, but this one. I've said entirely too many things. I've had entirely too many opinions. But if you look at
but you don't aspire to that. So that's just it right there.
Yeah, people keep telling me to run, but I'm not gonna. It's just not gonna happen. I'm too. I can't hold my tongue.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to. It's gonna be shows like this or nothing for me at this point. But as long as the pitchfork people are fighting with the torch people, have you seen that comic? There's a king and his advisor standing, and there's people in it. Like, just tell the torch people that the pitchfork people want torches taken away, and they'll just. I mean, you've got it with the Second Amendment guys against the anti-gun people. You've got it with Black Lives Matter and All Lives Matter. You've got it with and Blue Lives Matter. And like, I have a bunch of friends that are cops. I have family that are cops, and they're great people.
Oh yeah.
But not all cops are good people. Most of my friends
and most of those friends that are cops would probably acknowledge that as well.
Right. And I don't blame them for, and people on the opposition will say, well, if you don't come forward and turn in the people who are bad, you're just as bad. I don't agree. It's easy to say that. Like when I was talking about Kamala Harris and how last year in April, she said, oh, I believe all of Biden's accusers. I think, but she jumped on the fucking ticket with him today. But would I do that? Probably.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like,
if I had something I wanted to accomplish.
What are the choices? What choice do they have?
Does she fade into obscurity?
Yeah.
Or does
cashier at McDonald's? I mean,
well, no, she's fine.
She's fine. I'm not talking about
senator long enough.
Right. She'll be okay. I know. I'm not. But I'm talking like for a police officer, for example.
Yeah. Is he just going to leave the force? Is he going to turn these people in and maybe get killed on the job?
Office job? Right.
Not get backup? Fuck you. Like, you don't understand that job.
There's Just watch Departed.
I worked for the sheriff's office for 2.5 years before I went in the army, and it is not. You cannot do that job
There's
without backup.
inter-office politics. They're crazy.
Sheriff's offices are a little worse than most places as far as inter-office politics because your boss is a politician and has to work as a politician.
Right.
And I mean, and it's not even a bad thing for him. Like our current one, Joe, fantastic guy. I knew him when he was still on tribal police, when he moved over to the sheriff's office, and he's a great guy.
But he's got a bad rep now.
But he's got a bad rep now because
he posted some things that bit him.
Yeah. And he's
become
made some
part of a
budget
social
cuts
justice
that were not popular. And I think there was some disagreement within the office that was not handled properly. And but I don't know all of the background on all of that
but
stuff.
But that doesn't speak to his character.
No.
And who he is as a person. And
his law enforcement philosophy is right in line with mine. And and at the end of the day, that's what I need in my sheriff.
Oh, yeah.
And so, and with politics, you kind of have to look at it that way. And so, is Kamala Harris a hypocrite for jumping on that ticket? Probably a little bit, but who isn't?
Right.
And who that high
especially
in politics?
If you're in that, if that's your line of work, yeah. If there's a politician that isn't hypocritical in some way along their career path, then
show me that motherfucker.
Show me, because I can't think of one. Because I'd say Sanders would be right on there. Let's see. Didn't comment for some reason, so a little bit late. But my dad used to say, "God rest his soul." Women have all the
pussy and half the money.
Yes.
It was the pussy that they cut you up for. If you put it in quotes, I think it's okay. Yeah, that's true. God, where did I hear that first? Because I've heard that several times. And they do. Well, and you hear Dave Chappelle's bit about white women. Like the least oppressed people in the world. The least oppressed people in the world today. Maybe not historically. But,
constantly advocating.
Today, straight white women are probably in the best position of anybody right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's #BelieveAllWomen. #MeToo. All of that stuff. I mean, you can't say peep about a woman and without I'm going to get fucking hate from at least one of these 4 people, I'm sure. And
well, we had 5, one left. So.
One left. I must have said something about cunts. But I don't remember where I was going. I had a thing and I
white
got
women
detracted or pulled off of it by white women. Which, yeah. Hypocrites. And who isn't?
Oh, I'm a hypocrite. I'm
everybody.
Yeah.
If you have children, you're probably a hypocrite.
To live your life, you have to be a hypocrite. Well, my kids call me a hypocrite at least once a week, and I'll be like, yeah.
Before it went bad, Game of Thrones, Jaime Lannister said it. He said, you've sworn so many oaths that you can't not break one. Whenever. I mean, and I mean, maybe we're not in that age where you're swearing oaths to things, but like you can't keep all of the promises that you make. And you can't even be held to an ideal you had 10 years ago. Because 10 years ago, I was just getting back from my first deployment. Like,
yeah. Well, and as people, I think we all all of our ideals actually evolve over time, depending on our life experience and just education.
I suppose it was 12 years ago. Now that I think about it. God damn it.
Because if I were to sit down and have a conversation with me from 12 years ago, be a lot different conversation than today.
Yeah.
Me from 12 years ago wouldn't have much intelligent to say, and he wouldn't shut up.
Yeah. I was in the best shape of my life 12 years ago. Yeah. See, there's the nostalgia. I used to be pretty.
I'm working on that goals this year. I just had my physical today. And my doctor's like, you could lose some weight. I'm like, yeah. I had lost some, and then I gained it back. I found it again.
I found it in this COVID.
But yeah, it's just been a steady decline. But the last couple of days I've been exercising, so that's been
good. Yeah,
nice to kind of get back on the horse. It feels good. Like if I can get back into the routine of doing it consistently.
The trick is to just make sure you do it at least every other day.
Yeah. Because
after 2 days off, something happens in your blood chemistry and things go down and you lose
the motivation.
Yeah.
And
I remember sitting through some instructional piece in some Army class, and if you can do every other day and push a little harder, like every week, that's where you'll see results. And diet and proper sleep is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Proper sleep above everything.
Well, that's where I had the most success was when I lost as much as I did, because I've been down about 50 pounds lighter than I am right now.
Mm.
And then what'll happen is it'll slowly kind of pile back on.
Yeah, I'd have to cut about 20 to be at my fighting weight, but I'm at a comfortable spot right now.
Well, even at 50, if I got 50 pounds lighter, I'd want to get more tone in the process. And it's a matter of, and right now I'm in that position where it's like, I want to lift weights, but I also I need to shave some pounds before I get too fucking crazy on the weight training part of it. But
the more muscle you have, the more calories you burn just being.
Right.
And so it's
good to have a fair balance. It's just
if you ignore the scale, which is one of the things that's really hard to do because we've been conditioned to it. If you ignore the scale and just work on yourself, you'll see results.
Yeah.
And you'll like what you see, as opposed to looking down at some numbers that really don't mean anything. Because if you drink a bunch of water one day,
right,
it's gonna look different. And so and sometimes it's hard with yourself because changes are gradual. And I'll look at a picture of myself and be like, that does not look like I look at myself in the mirror. That's not good.
Yeah. I see lots of posture shots of me. I'm like, oh man, I need to
I need to get one of those
sit up
straps that
because when I look at the mirror, I'm like, yeah, I'm peacocking basically in the mirror. Yeah. But then get me in a normal situation and someone gets a candid shot of me somewhere and I catch a picture. I'm like, why we can't keep this?
Yeah, I'm in the background of this shot. You're gonna have to crop it or delete it and retake it.
So, Saved by the Bell podcast.
Fantastic. It's worth it. It's worth looking at.
It's called Zach to the Future.
Yeah.
You sent me a message on it yesterday and I immediately went and found it and listened to it. Then I had to run my kid out to a scout thing and he's 14. And so I was excited about it. So I was telling him about the podcast. He's like, yeah. And he's like, what is he? And I'm thinking, what does he care about a 30-year-old TV show?
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, well, the guy that's co-hosting it with Mark Paul Gosselaar is actually the guy that created and did the Zach Morris's trash videos.
Yeah.
And he was like, and he didn't even know what that is. And he's like a kid at YouTube. Wow. So then I had to take him down that rabbit hole. And we watched on the way out there. I had I'm cue up Zach Morris's trash on my phone. And so then he's got it sitting on the dashboard and watching it. And we watched probably 4 on the way out there. And he's like just busting up the whole time.
They're awesome.
They're great. And so then I'm like, also this guy, I can't remember the guy's name now.
It's 2D names. Dimitri something.
Or I can find it real quick.
D'Artagnan.
But I told him
Donnie.
He got hired to be a writer on the new reboot series.
The reboot series or the extension series, sequel series, really.
Yeah.
Or 3.
Dashiell Driscoll.
That's got to be a fake name.
Yeah.
That's a stage name.
But anyway,
a pen name, I guess, if you're a writer.
So he and Mark Paul Gosselaar got connected, and now the premise of this podcast is Mark Paul Gosselaar, who hasn't watched an episode of his own of the show that he was the star of for the past 30 years, and I believe it based on his dissertation about
Did he play football? No, he was track and field. And I was sitting there, I was like, track and field, come on, Zach.
I was thinking polo or something, but I think I was like connecting American Pie dots to Saved by the Bell somehow.
That was lacrosse.
Lacrosse. Yeah. And there you go. I didn't even get the right sport name. But so anyway, yeah. So the whole premise is he watches, and I haven't listened to the full episode where he's actually watched, but I'm curious to see how this goes because I think it'd be it
was great. They got Elizabeth Berkley to call in.
I heard a little bit of that.
Yeah. She seems like she's okay. She recovered from that Showgirls thing. And I'm so excited.
Yeah, that damaged her a little bit, but the reboot, the couple previews I've seen, looks funny.
I hope
it looks like it could be like entertaining to watch.
If that dude writes dialogue like he mocks old Saved by the Bell, he should be fine. And I'm sure that they got Tiffany Thiessen on board.
Well, there's a scene where they did like a teaser. I'll see if I can pull that up. And the teaser was really not too bad. Let me see if I can get it here.
I'm so excited. Oh, the worst.
Oh, they got all sorts of new videos coming out, so it must be coming soon. I want the one from like several months ago. Let's see here. Maybe this one will have it. We'll see.
Remember all the dances we had in this gym? Ever wish you could go back?
Sure do.
When a Bayside is going to change our lives.
Oh, it's going to be on Peacock, too.
Yeah.
Duh, it's an honor to teach me. These Bayside kids weren't exactly raised to have a killer instinct.
I have a Kardashian coming at lunch.
Who, Rob?
Shut up. He's still in their family.
Is it just me, or the seniors at the school really old looking?
Hey, Jamie. We heard you talking about the harvest dance. It's just you.
I'm so excited!
I have way too much on my plate.
There's a way to increase productivity.
Are those caffeine pills? At first, they're so exciting. And then it gets even more exciting. But after that, it gets so scary. And in the end, you ruin your girl group's shot at a recording contract. What?
I'm so excited!
Wow.
Dustin Diamond is not in it.
They did not get him. He has some really nice things to say about him, though. And it seems like, he was just like...
Mark Paul Gosselaar?
Yeah, he was like, he really committed to that. Like, all of the stuff that Dustin Diamond said doesn't seem like it was true. Like, Mark Paul Gosselaar was a piece of shit, and he was fucking all those girls, and he was just this garbage. And like, you listen to him talk about and it sounds like real remembrances of things that happened, and it's like maybe old Screech was just trying to cash in on what little bit of fame he could still
eke out of it.
Yeah, because I don't know. I mean, just Elizabeth Berkley and Mark Paul Gosselaar talking about having to take these drives. Or no, it was Tiffany Thiessen, because she was in briefly. They did like here's a clip from when we talked to her.
I heard that one. Yeah.
They were talking about how far they had to drive to get there, and then like trying to do school during breaks and like all this weird shit, and it was like that seems a little more real than they were banging it out in the dressing room at every break, and
right.
I like he just was really pushing that. Oh, let's get sex and drugs and shit involved, and then Mark Paul Gosselaar talking about his first kiss was on Good Morning Miss Bliss with that girl who was her niece or something.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, yeah, that kiss on camera was my very first kiss. So it's not much different than these kids that are in like Stranger Things.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of like, maybe it was horrible, maybe it wasn't, maybe there was this weird like sex.
Well,
and
they're
drug
fucking
fueled-
kids.
They
yeah.
were children
in
and
this
like
weird environment.
yeah. So no, I think there's a reason that he's not in it, and I think it's because he said so many bad things about so many people.
There's just some bad blood floating
Yeah.
around there.
And I don't know.
It's like you don't want to bring that drama to the
Yeah.
new party. If
Especially
you've got
if-
people that are like you had, and
You've got
Elizabeth Berkley's
professionals.
kind of the only one that's been pulled out of kind of obscurity because Mario Lopez kept working. What's going on?
Did we lose it?
The stream?
Yeah, the screen cut out.
Oh, yours did?
Yeah, as long as it was just this screen.
Oh, I think
and
it's
not-
just the screen.
Okay.
Elizabeth Berkley, I think, is the only one that hasn't really been working actively. Like Tiffany Amber Thiessen, she's been on shows. She was on The White Collar for a while.
Yeah,
And then Mark Paul Gosselaar is like
he's been
steady
constantly
working.
working. He's in that
If
Jeffrey Dean Morgan movie.
Yeah. And
That was with Robert De Niro. It wasn't bad, and he was a slime ball, and it was great. Like,
the Mixed Dish show. He plays the dad in.
oh yeah,
the-
you mentioned that one.
It's like a flashback show to Blackish.
Oh, okay.
Flashback spinoff. So it takes the wife's growing up perspective. And that's played. She's I think that's Diana Ross's daughter that plays the wife.
Okay.
Not that matters, but
If you heard the speaking of conspiracy theories and Diana Ross, have you heard the one about Michael Jackson being her son?
oh no.
That one's awesome. Dig into that one. That was fucking fun. One of the best ones I've ever seen.
Michael Jackson as
Diana Ross and I think Chuck Berry. You look at pictures of it, like look at her in that left-hand picture in the top there, top right, but in the left in the middle,
Oh, that
black
one?
and white one.
Oh, this one?
Yeah. Tell me she doesn't look like him.
Oh, I could see that, but he had a lot of plastic surgery. Maybe his plastic surgery made him look like that, though. Because remember him as a kid? He didn't look quite like that.
Oh, there's pictures of him as a kid
Really?
between her and
All
Chuck
the
Berry.
clues, Michael Jackson.
Oh,
real
Smokey
parents
Robinson, not Chuck
were
Berry. My bad.
Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson.
Yeah, it's something. And there's like Billie Jean. She played somebody named Billie Jean in a movie. Dirty Diana's about her. Like it's cool. Let's not bring it in on this one. Let's maybe that'll be our conspiracy theory for next time.
Yeah, well, that way I
'Cause-
can go down. We can go
Yeah.
down some rabbit holes with it.
And I can brush up because I didn't find out about it until like a month ago, and it just blew my fucking mind because it's one of those ones that's not like harmful, and it's just like she was 13 or 14 and Chuck Berry was like 30 and married. Or not Chuck Berry, Smokey Robinson. It's one of those ones that like, oh, that makes sense why they would do that and pawn him off on the Jacksons, and then he was the most talented one of them. Because look at who his parents were. He's genetically predisposed to being awesome.
That's true. Oh, yeah. Next episode, one of the next upcoming episodes, we'll go into that further.
And maybe we can just delve into one little conspiracy every time. I know I went kind of grand.
Oh, this
time.
this tonight was awesome.
It was. I went a little too far probably with some of it, but yeah, all that interesting shit.
Yeah.
So
DC Comic hit with huge layoffs. DC Universe streaming service could be dead. is
God,
the
I hope
headline
so.
Here. But one thing that happened with HBO Max is HBO Max took up like all the hot properties that DC Universe had, like Doom Patrol.
Oh.
And so like DC Universe lost that. So, and I watched a couple episodes. I started watching Doom Patrol. Brendan Fraser's in that.
Yeah, he plays the
He's good.
Robot Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice to see him kind of pulled out of, because he had like a bunch of like back problems and shit that came up as a result of like his work on The Mummy.
Yeah. The Mummy. And I think it was the second one that really got him. And then the third one was just trash. The one with Jet Li. Did you see that one?
No, I don't think so.
You seen the?
I didn't even see the
Oh,
Tom Cruise one.
The Tom Cruise one wasn't bad.
Really?
I don't think I've seen a bad Tom Cruise movie though. Like I know people don't like him because he's a Scientologist, but I really don't give a shit. And as long as he continues to, why is Louis C.K. on the right? As long as he makes. Oh, he made it to the socially distant comedy shows in Ohio.
Oh, well,
Good
let's
for him.
move on to that.
Yeah. Bottom line
But
with
yeah,
the DC stuff, I
DC
hope their stuff goes to some other streaming service. And I hope that over the course of the next year and a half, a lot of these things will fold into each other.
Right.
And we get like,
well,
I would
DC
prefer it if it was just Amazon Prime, Netflix, and Disney Plus. Or even if those folded together even more.
Right.
Because I don't want to fucking juggle.
all these streaming platforms. The whole thing, like, I feel like all these networks are missing the fucking point.
Yeah.
Because the reason I went away from cable was part and parcel because I didn't want to pay for something I wasn't using.
Right.
Like I had 150 channels, but I only watched
12. Maybe.
Right. Maybe. And so the great part about some of these ones that are coming up is they're like grabbing all these like little arteries or tributaries along the way. So like HBO now has, or HBO Max has a lot of little like other pieces. They got Warner Media and stuff in there too. So it makes it easier to watch a lot of the content that you would have otherwise not been able to. And then Disney's got Fox and they've got Marvel and they've got, and so
did you see they
only a matter of
retired
time
20th
they're going to
Century
get
Fox?
Did they?
The whole brand.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Today was a huge fucking day for America. Like
that has been
they named the vice presidential candidate 20th Century Fox, which I mean
that's
yeah.
That's been around forever. MGM has kind of been gone that way too.
Yeah.
I think it's still out there, but a lot of the stuff comes up as just Samuel Goldwyn now.
Mm-hmm. And it's
not the same.
Right.
And they use the CGI tiger. They don't use Clarence or whatever it was.
Have you seen the photo of how they got that?
I remember hearing about it.
There's a big microphone. There's a dude with a camera. There's another dude who's got like a thing that's hidden by the mane, but he's holding it. Like one fucking dude is holding it. People used to be badass and stupid. Like,
well, I was watching
I'm not scared of much, but I will not fuck with a lion.
Right. Well, no, my wife had an old episode of MacGyver on today, and there's a scene where Richard Dean Anderson's riding in the back of a logging truck, and you can tell it's not that, like, they didn't do anything on a green screen, but the truck is moving. He's standing in the logging truck, and like they had a wide shot that was obviously a stunt double.
Mm-hmm.
Where you could see him like stand, but they had to have done something where they made it safe, but not as safe as they would make it today.
Right.
All that shit would be done on like a sound stage now. But this was like actually like he had to be like on a logging truck, look like he's peering around the logs because he's hiding, riding on this logging truck full of logs. And I was just like, you couldn't do that. They wouldn't do that now.
No. Is that is Duchovny. And I thought I saw Gillian Anderson with him. That was something.
So back in June,
depiction.
Dave
Chappelle.
Back in June, Dave Chappelle released a surprise stand-up special on YouTube called 846. I didn't see this one.
I haven't.
That was filmed at semi-secret stand-up show in Ohio for a smallish crowd of about 100 people rather than a one-off for Chappelle to get some things off his chest. Though the special was actually part of a semi-secret invite-only series of shows that Chappelle has been doing with the permission of the Ohio's governor and local zoning board that runs temperature checks, enforces social distancing, and works with surrounding community to avoid noise complaints. However, the one thing nobody has been keeping an eye out for is disgraced comedians who refuse to fade into obscurity. Okay.
That's a little much.
Because one slipped through the cracks and got on stage after presumably being invited by Chappelle to do so.
He jerked off while he was on the phone with a girl. Leave him alone. There's people are fucking children, and it's wrong.
Yeah.
Louis C.K., talked on the phone with somebody and made her uncomfortable.
These people that write these
Find the
articles
hang up button.
drive me fucking crazy because it's just like like a fucking dog with a bone. They see anything they want to fucking
and
grab
like
it. I don't even
Chappelle
want to
said-
finish reading the article now. I just wanted like the fact that Chappelle brought him was like that was the thing. I was like, oh, good. They did remain maintain a friendship.
And he's got that
despite
bit
all
in
that
the
stuff.
Bird Revelation.
Yeah.
Where he says if you're the kind of person who can't take a phone call from a pitiful man like Louis C.K. and it's that like that's not just his stage character. He is a pitiful person.
Right.
And if you can't find the hang up button and that destroyed your Hollywood dream, it wasn't really your dream and you have a brittle spirit. And I totally agree with him on that.
Yeah.
Like you don't deserve to be anyone. If
Right.
that destroys your dream and you called it your dream, it wasn't your dream. You're a piece of shit and you're a liar and you ruined a man's whole fucking life. So no.
Oh, back to the Mummy. Jet Li one with all the Yetis was trash. I didn't see that one.
It's one of 2 movies I've ever turned off.
Jake Matthews, I want to thank you for all the comments today. 1967 movie Charlie the Lonesome Cougar, and I know what exactly what movie you're talking about.
A lot of people had nuts of steel. Fuck yeah. They were brave and dumb. I loved them. Like Buster Keaton. Have you seen some of his stuff?
Yeah.
Buster Keaton's physical comedy is without compare. I mean, and the stunts that he would do, and I had a long GIF that was like a minute and a half that I showed my son, and he's like, "That's amazing! I could watch that all day."
Some of those old westerns, the choreography and stuff that had to be put into like some of the fight scenes in the bars and stuff, like even like a lot of the John Wayne ones, that like especially the ones directed by John Ford, had amazing fight choreography.
Yeah,
and John Wayne like threw a lot of those fake punches.
Yeah. Yeah, and stage fighting's an interesting thing. We had quite a bit of stage fighting training when I was in a play in high school, because we had like a professional. One of the girls in my class, her mom was like a professional actor, and for a while, I don't think she still was at that point because she'd gotten. I mean, she was a mom, and but you know, there was voice training. We did a lot in drama club that I don't think you would assume like a high school of our size would be. Asotin, the town has less than 1,000 people in it. It might be a little over 1,000 now.
Yeah,
but like there were not a lot of people in our high school, and my class was the largest they'd ever graduated at 73 people.
Oh wow!
So. I mean, that gives you an idea of the size, but the quality of instruction from that woman was fantastic.
My last couple of years in my school, we had a gal come in that she kind of like brought in the theater department, like kind of like ushered it in. She came in as a music instructor and kind of like, but she came from a theater background, so she kind of like brought that with her and kind of like created some curriculum based around that, and actually made it possible for me. I wrote a 1-act play like my senior year.
Nice.
That we performed and stuff. It was like a real fun experience. We had an even smaller school. My graduating class was 14 people.
Wow.
I always say I graduated number 7 in my class.
Nice.
And then I'm like out of 14.
I was in the
middle.
50th percentile. Yeah, we had one other thing we were going to hit before we shut down, didn't we?
We took a little detour to the Louis C.K.
We did. We saw that thing.
DC Comics, Saved by the Bell.
It was at the top.
Oh yeah. This GoFundMe. This is local news.
The Southway Bridge flagger.
Yeah, you know about this, right? Have you folled any of it at all?
Well, and I've seen several people comment on LC Valley Reviews about how he waved and said hi to us and told us to have a great day. Like, that's really cool. Like, good for him. But the GoFundMe, not a fan.
That's what I had the problem with. Derek, I texted about it because he's like, well, if you go to like, you must be, well, his first comment was like, you must be a really good tipper. And I'm like, actually, I am a really good tipper. I'll tip like anywhere from 18 to 20% most of the time.
I standardize 20%.
I go, the only time I dip below, and it's usually about 12 to 15%, is if the service is kind of there's some problems with it.
Yeah.
But I'll even still tip when it's.
Oh, I won't. If the service gets to a certain
if it's
point,
shitty, I won't. But if it's like there's a struggle, then I'll still tip because I kind of feel like fuck you. You're like there's a certain threshold. But anyway, so
mine's really low.
But so
Not a patient man.
So I saw this like high school kid, or if you're a high school age kid, or maybe like young, like 19, 20 maybe. He's not very old. He's the one that started the GoFundMe for the guy, and he's like really like excited about it. And then like everybody then kind of like onboarded with the whole thing and was like, and the fact that he's like happy and dancy and stuff is great to me. But doing the GoFundMe kind of felt gross and kind of made my skin crawl.
Cyber begging. As much as people hate Walter White, I agree with him on that front. Like, it's cyber begging.
And this guy didn't ask for that.
No, he didn't. It's not his fault.
And now he's become and what's happened is you've taken this guy out of his element and you've put him in this zone that maybe he didn't necessarily want to be in. And so it's
Right.
like that there was that news coverage. You remember that guy that like the singing guy that they ended up like they raised a bunch of money for him. Then he got back on drugs. Then he got like all this like
yeah. Or that dude who had the model quality mugshot.
Yeah, he had that weird like great announcer voice, and he was like giving like, and people were filming him on the street.
The man with the golden voice.
Yeah,
yeah.
And then as soon as like that that guy was doing just fine, and then they're like, we got to help this guy out, and then like they helped him back on drugs, and that, like so here's the and Kaylee W always does the best news. Oh, fuck hotels.com.
Fucking say.
Is it even going to play the clip?
I'm not really a supporter of the whole GoFundMe thing. Like, I remember my cousin shared one. His friend he'd gotten pulled into one of those, if you write us a check, we'll put the money in your account, weird things, one of those boondoggles. And he put up a GoFundMe to cover his cost on that because he got swindled by a con artist. And he ended up getting like, $5,000 or $6,000 out of the deal. And you want to talk about feeling gross. I mean, I get that they're trying to do a nice thing for this person, but like that dude, he got swindled and it was only $1,250. Like, you just take that hit. I don't care if you're 17 or 70, you take that hit because you got swindled. Yeah. You lost that. And maybe you can get some...
I co-signed on a loan for a friend of mine when I was 21, and I ended up getting stuck with picking up the balance.
The tab. Yeah.
To basically save my own credit.
Yeah.
And
so there's your Dave Ramsey tip of the day. Don't fucking co-sign on anybody.
Don't fucking co-sign.
It never works out, and it destroys friendships.
Oh yeah, it totally did.
If you're gonna loan a friend money, just loan him money. Just give it to him. Just give him the money. Don't loan it to him because it'll destroy your friendship.
So yeah, I mean, but I wasn't gonna ask for fucking handout.
Yeah.
Or help on it. I mean, first of all, that was the mistake that I made. I had some other stuff that I'll have to tell you off air, but I handled on my own. I didn't even get my parents involved.
Right.
When I was like,
that was your mistake,
and it was a mistake I made, and I was like,
and now you're an adult. Like,
yeah,
people will be like, oh, you need to grow up, but at the end of the day, like, I cover my bills, I take care of my stuff, everything I owe, I pay.
Yeah.
And they're talking about canceling student loan debt. I have one more payment. I'm just going to make it.
Yeah.
Like, and then I can feel good about myself. Like, I met my obligation.
Well, then I feel like almost bitter about it. It's like, you're going to cancel somebody who's got debt still, but what about me? I've paid all mine off.
Right.
Are you going to back pay me then?
Nope.
No, you're not. And I know you're not, but it's like,
well, and other people are like, well, every every Fannie Mae and Johnny Mac and whatever fucking student loans are out there. They're all at 0 interest right now. You don't have to make payments. I don't remember what the fucking word is, but and what if the flagger
never wanted that? Like,
Yeah.
did they ask him? Exactly. That's what.
Yeah.
I don't even fully understand how GoFundMe on the back end works. There's a GoFundMe takes a piece of the pie.
Oh,
for sure.
No, but like, is there any accountability for that money? Because some kid started it.
Yeah.
Well, I could go say, throw some money down for these homeless people. We're going to help
it's
them
high
out.
profile enough now that the kid's got to give him.
Yeah, if he
the
doesn't,
money.
that flagger can get him.
Yeah.
And flaggers make like $20, $25.
Yeah, it's not like he's not
It's
making
not like
money.
he's not making money working for Poe.
Yeah.
Those people get paid well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's shitty work, and they should get paid well because he's turning a sign, but it's fucking 100 degrees out today.
Yeah.
And he's standing on a fucking asphalt bridge. No, thank you.
Yeah, well, and so he's making lemons out of lemonade.
Yeah.
With it while he's out there. And
Lemonade
just had
out of lemons.
Yeah.
He's having a good time.
He's reverse engineering the lemonade.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's having a good time. So good for him, and that's awesome. And it brightens up people's days. But let's leave it at that. That's what.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you got a news story,
and
got
then
on TV.
and then at that point, it's up to the employer to recognize the extra little bit of effort that he's doing, and either give him a raise, a bonus, or a promotion somewhere down the line. You've got that on. It's resume building. He's building on his resume. You don't need to fucking tag on $1,000.
And he's taking a really shitty situation, being held up in road construction. 0 people like that. There's nobody who's like, fucking, I love getting trapped in road construction. It's my favorite fucking thing.
Yeah.
There are no people of the 8 billion people on this planet who think road construction is a fun thing to get stuck in. And he is making it a little bit less shitty. And good for him. But this GoFundMe thing, why? Why did you do that, young child? Why did you push that on? I mean, did this guy, and like Jake says, did this guy want this?
You know how much this GoFundMe's up to now?
Tell me.
$2,028.
Wow. I think that's less than that kid that got swindled got. That's wild. That makes my story even fucking worse, because at least this dude's doing something positive.
Right.
And GoFundMe will take 10%. So that's what did you say it was?
$2,028. So I
So
mean, if he gets
they'll
another couple hundred, basically you just round it down to 1,800.
Yeah. So $1,800 for this guy. That's a nice bonus for the job, but I won't support it.
Yeah.
One, because I don't drive across that bridge because I will get stopped and have to wait.
Right.
And my car has 320,000 miles on it. Like, I just don't. I can't go sit out in fucking 100-degree weather in that.
So here's the KLEW.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah, I got it pulled up here.
Road word. Who is this kid?
And many of you can say there's a certain flagger on site.
Oh, not good.
Wow.
Man, our local talent leaves something to be desired.
It's such a dice roll. Like, some people are great.
Mm-hmm.
They're great, but they
leave.
They get scooped up fast.
Yeah.
But like this guy, he needs some teleprompter.
There's another
lessons.
guy that was on there for a while. I can't remember his name, but he had like bodies in the basement murder eyes. He was like
one of those kids.
Yeah, just like these real dark, beady like eyes. Yeah.
That helps brighten your day. KLEW News reporter Justin Spinney joins us now with details along our local dancing flagger.
That might be the
Yeah,
guy.
that's right.
No,
He's known around the LC Valley as the Dancing Flagger. So I headed to the Southway Bridge to meet with the man putting smiles on so many faces.
Oh my goodness, it's so awesome to be here. Thank you, grandfather, for giving me everything.
If you've crossed the Southway Bridge on a weekday, you may have seen him flagging traffic, but also doing much more. Whether it's giving a wave or dancing, people have taken notice of the Dancing Flagger.
My nickname's Moon Man. My real name from the English is Jarrell Allen.
Moon Man is all about putting positive energy into the world.
I'm happy.
And now we've just taken some of the mystique out of his character and some of the appeal, because now I get to hear hear him talk.
Never.
And it's like,
never
meet your heroes.
Yeah, it's like following your actors that you enjoy on Twitter, and then you find out that they are
John
totally
Cusack.
crazy.
And I'm thankful.
Oftentimes, Moonman's positive energy is reciprocated. You'll see him waving and dancing, trying to get a smile or a
It's like,
reaction.
what the fuck am I going to do with this water? I got water.
You don't got nothing.
As I talked with Moonman, he started to get emotional.
I'm sorry. I'm just not paying attention. I'm having a good moment, guys.
He explained
Get to
me
work.
He's just happy to have freedom because he's been in prison and served his time. He cherishes life on the other side.
I did 7 years. I don't want to do it again. I appreciate everybody out there that look at things like this. And I hope you can change the world like I'm trying to. But not forever, just for the moment.
He's trying to change the world, one smile from a driver at a time.
And you guys will have a better life if you smile and understand life is free.
He is a better person than I am.
Take it as it is and go with it.
Yes.
Moonman's message to the community.
All you guys out there, thank you for supporting
He
me.
so much is because there's like this. I
being told
have
a
this
local Clarkston-
very held back desire to make fun of it at the same time as like I want to appreciate what he's doing and like the way he feels about it. But then at the same time, I'm like, come on.
Yeah, like every ounce of me wants to write a bit about that because those people are great. They're great. He's doing nothing right now but putting positivity out in the world.
Oh yeah,
and there's nothing to make fun of there, but I want to make fun of it because it does like
it's that low hanging fruit type thing where
we're in that age that is so bitter and cynical.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I know there's people.
It's a small window too, because it ends after.
It's like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, and
I'd say about 83, 84 it stops because Ron's not cynical like that. I mean, he's a little bit, but not
to the
not
degree.
like I am, not like Rick is.
Yeah,
not like and there are people who are not that way.
Yeah.
But there's a good chunk of us in this age group. This just turning
it's a dark.
40.
It's a real dark kind of like outlook on things, and where you just kind of want to shit on everything. Like,
yeah, they call us Zennials
right?
because we're between the Generation X and the Millennials.
Right.
Because we're not quite in either group. Like my mom is strongly Gen X, and there's a lot that I identify there because she was 18 when I was born. 17 when Rick was born.
Yeah.
So she's sometimes it drives me nuts like how close in age we are. But like, and there's so much we agree on, but there's even though she's strongly Gen X, there's still some hope there and some like belief in basic human decency.
Yeah.
And I don't have that. Like I don't think if you were to take a random sampling of people, I don't think most of them would be good.
Well, yeah, and I always look at a person kind of cockeyed.
Mm-hmm.
There was a small like period of time in my early like you go through this little like optimistic period, like maybe people are good, and then you get shit on a couple times, and you're like, no, everybody sucks.
Yeah, I don't think I ever went through that phase.
But
like,
like I said, I co-signed on a loan for somebody, so you
had a point. I don't think I had that.
Yeah,
like I will rarely give a person the benefit of the doubt. And unless I'm on a jury, you're guilty until proven innocent. Like that's kind of my outlook. Like everyone is guilty. Again, I think it's from watching so much George Carlin. Birth certificate is proof of guilt. Like that sort of bit, like really wedged itself in my young psyche. And I don't know. It keeps a lot of people at a distance, and it probably isn't the best outlook. And I'm trying not to pass it on to my kids.
Yeah,
like I want them to be cautious, but I don't want them to be fucking paranoid. And it doesn't help that like one of my favorite topics is conspiracy theory because you really do have to step back and be like, this sounds insane. And luckily, people insert those things like time travel and fucking like, oh, JFK Jr. is still alive and he's going to run for president after Trump is done, yada, yada, yada. Like No, he died in a plane crash. And maybe because he was running against Hillary Clinton, she's somehow involved in that. I don't know. But you've got a whole history of people who are opposing the Clintons who just magically fucking die.
Well,
but like, do I think that she is doing it for any reason other than money and control? And I'm sure something happened to her when she was young that she needs to be in a position where she has power, or else she doesn't feel right about anything.
Right.
And when they talk about that cycle of abuse, that's where I think it comes from, is that these people felt powerless at one point and they will not feel that way again. And they think money and political power is the way to get that.
Right.
And so they go that route. And that's why we have so many horrible people in so many positions of power.
Yeah.
Harvey Weinstein's, your Bill Cosby. I'm sure something happened to Bill Cosby when he was young that he thought he needed to drug and rape women to feel that power.
Right.
And that's why those people go after children, because children are powerless. And do I agree with it? No. Do I think they should be punished? Hell yeah. But does that explain it? It sure does. Most behavior is explainable.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes it comes down to just something simple like
well,
that.
It's, like you said, you don't want to pass it on to your kids. That's for me. I had to kind of tamp out that is like early on with my kids when they were like, I was especially my more curious kid, my middle son. He was always like doing things and building things, and I was always kind of like a joy killer. Like he made a fishing pole one time, and I'm like, and he used like big thick shoelace size string. And he's like, do you think it'll catch any fish?
No.
And I'm like, no,
kids are dumb.
And then he's like, why? And I'm like, and then I just like bluntly explain it to him. He's like, it just breaks his heart.
Pop us back up on the screen.
Oh,
we're still in the.
You don't want to
Thanks,
look at
Jake.
You don't want to look at this guy.
You don't like those dead fish eyes looking at you?
Yes.
Sorry, dude. Yeah, and it's hard not to be that guy, like not to just constantly shit on stuff.
Suck all the fucking air out of the room, but just like,
yeah, and really, I am that guy.
I have to tell myself, like, it's gotten easier to tell myself as I've gotten a little bit older. My kids get a little bit older, so I can be a little bit more patient. And so, but early on, I didn't have much. Like my filter was terrible because I'd just be blunt and to the point with stuff, and I still can be and will be.
Yeah.
But I've gotten to the point where I will come out and be like, if you do this way instead of the way that you're doing it.
Yeah, there's a reason that fishing line is
right. I can kind of like walk it through a practical step process instead of like shit on their day.
Yeah, like you did great here, but you used a shoelace and you just won't catch anything. Work. It doesn't matter. I mean, you could put female fish pussy scent on there and it's not gonna attract any.
Yeah, you got to build that. You got to build that sandwich. I was learning that as a manager too. You got to have like you put the shit in the middle.
Yeah,
but you have like you do the little build up. You got to like pay the compliments. You did good here.
This is fucking trash, and I don't know how you came out of
but
my
keep
nutsack.
It up with this.
But over here, do this. This was great.
You're
the
doing
handle
awesome.
Carving is fantastic.
Exactly.
No, it's hard to do, and it's harder to do when it's like with my kids. It's not so bad. Like with Alex and Mara, I can do that. But like anybody else, no. It's like I put the shit in a slingshot and shoot it in the face because you did it wrong. Fuck you.
Yeah,
you're trash. And like, why? What good does that do me?
It serves no purpose.
No, I'm a fucking horrible person. And there's another reason you shouldn't elect me for any sort of position because I'm mean.
Oh, I'm selfish.
I'm mean and I'm selfish, which I think is a trait of Zennials. I think that's where we are. Not really. Nightmares are coming. Sorry, dude.
Oh.
The kid's got the ends mouth look. See? I'm fucking mean. Just mean. It's not his fault that his eyes are too far apart and he looks like a fucking fish person. That's not my fault. Or it's not his fault. It is my fault. Oh. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with all that. Did we hit all of our high notes?
I think so. The only like if we were to, we don't even need to. If we were to swing back around on the world government thing, the Hobbes and the skeptics piece was what I kind of aligned with, which was philosopher Thomas Hobbes famously wrote, "Life is nasty, brutish, and short."
It is
in Leviathan. Hobbes applies this belief about man's innate moral corruption to political philosophy. So basically, we've touched on all of that.
Yeah, I truly believe that. Like I think that we are lying to ourselves with civilization. I think we're barely above, like, really just throwing shit at each other and killing everything. Like at any given time, like they say that we're all is it 4 meals?
We're hunter-gatherers and we thrive better in that situation.
I think we're 4 meals from catastrophe is what they
4
say.
meals?
Yeah. If you miss 4 meals, you'll start to get desperate. And once you start to get desperate, I think it's 4, it might be 7, but there's a number there. And once you miss those, like, so they say, you know, Mad Max and most of the post-apocalyptic fiction where you're like, how could people go nuts like that? Like they're hungry. They're hungry.
Yeah.
And that's it. Their resources. And I think we're at an especially bad point right now because we're so comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the only thing that hasn't been comfortable about this quarantine is that there's more people in my house than there should be at any given time. Like one of them should have been at school, the other one should have been at work, and it should have just been Mara and I.
Right.
And things would have been fine. Like most of the stress that I'm under is because there's like I just don't have that time.
Yeah, when I work by
listening.
myself and my kid, like I get my kids off to school and I can just be in my zone working. Even if I'm working all day and everybody's there, there's more stress with them all there than if they're all gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you don't have room to breathe and you need it.
Yeah.
People there's a reason that women didn't go back in the kitchen after they went to work. They knew how great it was to just go do some, whether it's mindless factory work or bullshit office work or playing baseball like League of Their Own. Like being away from the home for a chunk of time is amazing.
I spent 3 hours installing a cargo rack on the back of my RV or my camper the other day that would have probably taken me an hour
minutes.
At most. But I got a lawn chair.
Yeah.
And I took a lot. It was hot, but I took a lot of breaks.
Yeah.
And I just I'd sit down and I'd get out the directions and I was just like, and I had my music going and I was just like at peace.
Yeah. And I've been trying like other escapes, like meditation. Fantastic.
Yeah.
If I do it before I go to sleep, I sleep better and shorter. I don't sleep as long, but I sleep way better.
But in the new Mad Max, they had endless boob milk. That's
did.
true.
They did. There was so much titty milk. I'll see you in Valhalla.
It's too bad those tears aren't white. It's just like milk.
It's just milk tears.
Milk tears.
Yeah. But all of that stuff is based on that idea and that fear. And you'll hear people say that it doesn't matter if you're a vegetarian or omnivore, whatever, you're a truckitarian here in America because everything you eat has been trucked in.
Oh yeah.
And I don't doubt that. I think everything that we eat is shipped in and overprocessed and overpackaged. And like if you cut back and just eat healthy, like you cut back to just water and vegetables and clean meat, your body like kind of starts to go into revolt.
Yeah,
It's
well,
like, oh god, this is so uncomfortable. Like you eat a bunch of broccoli and your fucking guts hurt because
it's like I need to chase this with some Funyuns.
yeah, I need to throw a bag of chips down me.
Yeah, well, and and that's where like all these cancers and stuff I think are coming from is from all the shitty fucking food we eat. You saw life expectancy starting to go up, and then as soon as we started to enter Hungry Man dinners and shit like that started kind of like
that stuff is
government
magical.
cheese, all the stuff that started coming into play in the 50s and stuff, like eliminated the need to like cook like these home cooked meals that were with like ingredients that were
like you don't have
organic,
that pre-cut up, pre-packaged meat. And you're not doing your own thing. And this
is why I'm not doing chickens again, because the whole thing about the chickens was we were getting the eggs, farm fresh eggs, organic eggs. Well, there's not that much organic about the eggs that we're getting either, because they're eating, like we're throwing them like bleached white bread scraps to eat while they're out there, because the chickens fucking eat anything. So, and my diet's not clean enough that the fucking organic eggs are gonna fucking save me.
It's not changing my day.
So
but
all this fucking processed food's gonna kill us. The life expectancies will go down.
And they started cutting the fat out of everything. The fat's not bad for you. It's the sugar that's bad for you.
Oh, yeah.
Sugar's fucking poison. But they keep, salt and sugar, they just keep throwing that shit in there.
Jake says, I just read an article that saying the forever chemicals in McDonald's is causing.
I know. And I'm the type of dude who would take that shit and cat fingers. Fat fingers. Too much McDonald's. Those forever chemicals.
Yeah.
Have you seen the new speaking of McDonald's, have you seen the new Burger King ad for the Whopper where they show the 36-hour time lapse?
No.
It rots and shit grows on it, and or it might even be a week.
So is it trying to say
they're trying to say that they
our
don't
shit's
have it
fresh?
Yeah. We didn't put a bunch of preservatives in it. We're not McDonald's. But you know what? McDonald's is fucking delicious. It's good.
Their double quarter pounder? Fucking A.
Yeah. And they've got those new ones with like bacon and fucking ranch and like weird shit. You're like, fucking feed me more.
Then they decided to get good buns.
Yeah. And the meat is so much better than it used to be because they stopped using the pink slime that, the really crazy say is children. Like it's not fucking people. They're not fucking serving you people. Stop it. Nah, I haven't fucked there since I worked there in high school. They do some fucked up shit. Yeah, I hear Wendy's here in town is the worst. As far as employees doing horrible things. And
the burgers don't cut corners, but the employees sure do.
Yeah. Well, that and like fucking on the food and just like the amount of shit that would get in your food there just because of the amount of bodily
Jack
fluid
in the
being
Box
exchanged.
was pretty heinous for a while too, but
Yeah.
fuck, Jack in the Box makes some good fucking food.
Sure do. And you can go there anytime. I've 12, 13 years ago, I made peace with dying. And so I don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't. Like, I'm going to die of something. And if it's a quarter pounder with cheese and a large fry and a Dr. Pepper, except their Dr. Pepper at McDonald's is fucking bullshit. I've never had a good Dr. Pepper at a McDonald's, and I always forget when I'm ordering.
Their mix is off.
It is. It sucks. And they say their mix is supposed to be perfect. Like, they've figured it out. They've got a lab. But their fucking Dr. Pepper is trash, and their Coke is delicious. So that's my McDonald's tip. Don't drink their Dr. Pepper if you like Dr. Pepper. But yeah, I mean, I'll go through there every once in a while, and their breakfast is awesome. McGriddles, the chicken McGriddle is a thing of beauty.
I haven't tried those yet.
Yeah.
The problem I don't do McGriddles very often because it's too like the it's too sweet.
There's an awful lot of sweet there, but with the chicken, it's the spicy chicken patty.
I was gonna say the spicy chicken would offset the sweet a bit. I think
it's great.
So I
don't
it's
eat
probably
the other
pretty good.
ones. I eat the regular sausage
The
McMuffin with egg.
That's what I do, and then I also do their breakfast burritos.
Yeah,
their breakfast burritos are the best because they're just so fucking simple.
Yeah,
it's just a little sausage, a little egg, and some cheese,
some peppers.
It's just like, yep.
You get that little packet of hot sauce.
Well, this has been McDonald's talk.
Fuck yeah, they should give us a couple thousand. I'm a huge fan of their food though, and I always have been. I love their nuggets.
Yeah.
But I'm a fast food guy. Like if I could afford it, I would eat fast food every meal. I don't care if it's good I like some good food, but half the time good food doesn't have enough food and it's pretentious as fuck. Like I don't like kale. I don't care if you made a reduction. I don't fucking care. This is not chopped. This is me eating a chicken sandwich and I'll crush it. Diet Coke was better than any Diet Coke. Yeah, their lab figured out the Cokes, I think. I don't drink Diet Coke because I don't trust fake sugar, which is weird because sugar itself is terrible.
Oh, sorry she passed, man.
Sorry about that, man. But yeah, I think your mom was right about their Diet Coke because I've heard that the Diet Coke is good too from people who are like Diet Coke addicts. And Diet Coke is one of those things you see like people do get addicted to it.
Yeah,
like,
well, we do Diet Coke and Diet Dr. Pepper in our house, and Shasta makes a good Diet Dr. Pepper knockoff. Their Diet Dr. Shasta is pretty close, but their Diet Shasta Cola is not close to Diet Coke.
Oh.
And Diet Pepsi, I don't care for.
Have you tried that Dr. Pepper with cream soda?
No, is it
It's
good?
awesome. Oh God, I've had like 12 of them this week, and it's only Tuesday. They're delicious, and I quit drinking soda for a long time. Like I wouldn't drink anything but water, tea, and coffee, and they were both black.
Yeah,
and the occasional Red Bull. Like Tuesday night was my cheat day for drinks, drinking Red Bulls. But man, like Albertsons keeps having sales where you buy 2 and get 3 free on soda.
Oh, wow.
And I had a whole extra fridge that needed stuff in it because Jenny had to plug it in because we ran out of freezer space. And so we got a bunch of soda for in there, and it's just, God, why did I stop drinking it? When I was a kid, I drank tons of soda.
We quit drinking soda for about 2 years straight. And I'll probably quit again at some point just to have a break from it.
Yeah.
But it takes a while to get back used to like having it after you haven't had it for a while. Because you can't, like, the carbonation kind of throws you off.
Oh, I loved it. The burn.
But yeah.
Oh, fuck. I'm talking like an addict. I love it. Like, every bit of the experience, the sound when you crack it,
those
and
little
first
sips
drink.
where it kind of like the little nipple sips.
Yeah,
man,
not the first one though, because the first drink out of a can of anything is the best drink. The first drink, and so you make that drink as big as you can make it, and sometimes it's the whole can.
That's true.
And you enjoy the burn on the way down. I mean, it's like. I feel like Arnold Schwarzenegger talking about the pump in Pumping Iron when he's like, you get to the pump and oh God, it's better than coming. Like, yep, it sure is.
Yeah.
Cause I don't know. Once you get out of your teen years, like sex is not the best thing in the universe anymore.
There's a lot of,
there's so many other things that are enjoyable.
Great scientists out there making some really good food.
God bless you, Ronald McDonald.
All right, we better get out of here.
Yeah.
All right, so thanks again for joining us today. This has been a fantastic episode, fantastic show. I've really
it was a voyage.
I had a great time. You can if you want to support the show somehow, this isn't a GoFundMe. This is like, you're you're supporting something that you love, something that you're given for free.
And you can tell your friends you're a patron of the arts
Yes.
if you do this.
Over at patreon.com/timespentpoorly, you can check us out over there. And there's some great tiers out there for fun, and not tears, crying tears, like TIER.
Like the farming in Peru.
Yeah, I don't even remember what all the tiers I set up were, but there's like just the basic fan level tier, which starts at like $3 a month. And then after that, it gets a little bit crazy. But go ahead and check that out. Over at timespentpoorly.com, you can subscribe to the audio version of this show, which this long, nearly 3-hour show, 2.5-hour show, will actually be probably cut up into 2 pieces so that you can listen
a little more
bit
digestibly.
A little bit more digestibly, exactly.
This was a Thanksgiving dinner of an episode, and not everybody can deal with that.
Right.
Joe Rogan did.
So one of the places we stream live to every other Tuesday, and we put out notifications about when we're going to stream, so you can actually see when it happens, is over at youtube.com/timespentpoorly. We're also at all 3 of these places /Time Spent Poorly Network, which is twitch.tv, facebook.com, instagram.com. All right. So there you have that. And then I'm on Twitter at TSPN Media, and also on Periscope is that. And then Derek on TSPN, and Hudds over here is at Hudds Magruder. We've gone past the music time, but so that means it's time to go. No.
Hey, it came back.
No. All right. So thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time.
Big shout out to Jake for
huge shout out for Jake. Bless you for coming in and
thanks for taking part
and participating in the show. That's what we really hope for with future shows, live listeners. It's great to get you guys on here. Have a good night. Thanks again. Thanks, Jake. Thank you. All right. We'll see you guys next time.